Good morning and welcome to Saturday, the ICF 2023 World Cup Championships here in bright and sunny Sarasota, Florida. I am your voice today and all weekend, Dr. Rob Canoe. I am the race creator of the Go Boater Race Series and here to lead you through the 10K open race here with international racers from around the world and all across the United States. This is the most beautiful place that we've been at. This venue is world class at Nathan Benderson Park, and we are so honored that they are hosting the ICF World SUP Cup here today. I am more than honored to have my good buddy, John Miskousas, right next to me, hanging out.
Close. You got it close. Miskouskas,
yes. John Miskouskas next to me today, and he's going to be co-commentating. John, welcome to the booth.
Thanks, Rob. This is pretty awesome again to be here. Yesterday's sprints were fun, and really looking forward to seeing this distance race. I think this is maybe considered the main event. I don't know.
I would say it's definitely the one that we're most familiar with.
Yeah, I think it levels the playing field, right? Because you have people who are strong sprinters, but this race is going to kind of take all skill levels: endurance, speed, sprinting, drafting, wake riding, all the fun stuff. So it's going to be fun. Absolutely
right. If you're new to stand-up paddleboarding, this is one of the key events that happens around the world, seeding individuals for a world championship coming up next month in Thailand. And stand-up paddleboarding is one of these great sports that anybody can get into. And if you haven't ever been on a stand-up paddleboard, we hope that you will find the courage to jump on one and learn how wonderful of a sport this is. Being out in the open air and sunshine and water is one of the most amazing things. You're going to see world-class athletes. So again, it is 8:52 a.m. Eastern Time, wherever you're joining us or whenever you're joining us. Please make sure wherever you're watching this, post some comments and give us some feedback on who you're watching, where you're watching from, and why you're excited, and maybe the next race that you're going to be at. But as you can see, this beautiful drone shot, we've got the most amazing video crew here today helping us out. You can see these guys, all these paddlers are getting lined up. They are starting in roughly 6 or 7 minutes. So again, get your coffee ready if it's morning. Get yourself set up because in less than 10 minutes, this race is going to go off. For you unfamiliar with the 10K format, these individuals are going to do 2 full 5K laps around this beautiful Nathan Benderson Park here today. I would say typically 10K with these speedsters, these amazingly fast athletes, are maybe going to be in that 1 hour range. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I would think the top paddlers are definitely going to fall in an hour and maybe even break an hour. We might see.
Yeah.
So.
We think this course is going to be pretty close to a 10K. They've done a wonderful job setting up this course right now. You can see these athletes. They're already vying for position. And John, why don't you talk about the lineup right now and how these guys maybe want to be on that inside line and how it can get a little chaotic.
Yeah, well, this is actually really interesting because at this event they have chose to do a mass start, male and female. And as you can see, it's a pretty tight start line over there. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know so much if inside line's going to matter from the angle that they're shooting. It looks like they have to come through these buoys here, lined up at the finish line before they proceed around the building. I think these guys are mainly just trying to get a clean start. That's going to be the biggest thing. If you get in somebody's wash and kind of get stuck on their side or steered or whatever the case is. So most of these paddlers are used to it. They train these starts that are tight. So we'll see how this goes. This is going to be a very interesting start, and it's a huge key to a 10K race.
Yeah, and as you can see from this drone shot, you can get a good idea of those individuals who want to be up front, who want to be getting that clean water and not being in the wash. Surprisingly, if you're just even behind 1 or 2 people that are not directly in front of you, you feel the wake that a paddleboard puts out, And on these very skinny boards, you know, the average paddle board is maybe 34 inches wide, which is nice and stable. These boards are close to 23, 22, 21, even some 20s
yeah.
out there. That means they're very unstable, but they're extremely fast. So fast racers are sacrificing stability for speed, and when they get in the wash, that can be really challenging. So we're going to see how everybody looks, and as you're watching, you might see the 2nd through 10 individuals. You're going to see them kind of get a little lower squat surf stance almost as they're paddling at first, just to make sure that they're there. But oh, what a gorgeous shot. We've got this beautiful sunshine just kissing everybody's faces this morning, getting ready. If you look right in front of you, you can see on that blue and red starboard, that's Fiona Wild right there. Right to her left
is, let's see, we have...
I think that's Peter.
That is Peter right to her left, and just to her...
Peter Gazansky,
who
to her right he took 3rd yesterday.
Just to her right is Kim Barnes.
Kim Barnes.
Kim and Fiona are going to be 2 of the top females. Seychelles, Stephanie Schidler. There's Erie Tenario lined up with the green and yellow board.
Yep, Erie's on that flying fish, green and yellow, right next to, you got a couple flying fishes there. Oh, these are our young guns right there.
Yeah, the young gun. Mason's in the lineup, 14 years old.
Mason's going for the very inside buoy there. There's Seychelles on that red and white SIC
Stephanie
board.
Schidler there.
That's Kat, who's on that Infinity Whip.
Yeah, so we've got a nice lineup. Bodie Von Allman. So there's Bodie all the way from the West Coast.
He's on that blue nose. That's an NSP.
Yeah, he's going to be one of the favorites in the distance race. I think he was maybe 2nd or 3rd last year in the distance in Oklahoma. So it's more his forte. I know he was probably pretty disappointed with his 6th place in the sprints yesterday, so he's going to want some revenge, I'm sure.
He's coming for blood
so that's
today.
Bodie. That's Bodie. The other top males are also going to be obviously Erie Tenario, the winner of yesterday's sprints, Jake Portwood, Steve Miller, who's a Masters. There's so many, it's hard to name.
So you can see these individuals right now. They can't let their nose cross this imaginary line between the 2 buoys. So they're all trying to stay right up at the front, but they also don't want to be DQ'd for a false start.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. It's the sprinters, right? We're going to see how these sprinters get out.
There's those 2 buoys we were talking about right there. You can see that imaginary line they're all trying to hold behind. And then you got the smart ones who are like, you know what, I don't want to be with all these crazy people up front. They're going to kind of take that second line. I think they're getting ready to go here. You can see their paddles are up. They want their paddles in front of them to get that first deep stroke. Up. They are getting close to getting started. Here they go.
There
okay.
we go.
10K is off. 8:58 a.m.
Yes, looks
Very
like a
impressive.
clean start. You know, Bodie Von Allman started on the outside in some cleaner water. We'll see if it's paying off. He's cutting over to the inside quick.
Right in front of you, you've got Erie Tenario. He's probably everybody's favorite maybe to win today. They're thinking
just to his side is Jake Portwood.
Jake Portwood is not going to let him get a free ride.
And on their tails, Peter from Canada, who also did a 3rd in sprints yesterday. So you can see the sprinting ability. There's your top 3 sprinters from yesterday.
Look at those waves, though. You can see the chop right there. And, you know, for those of you who have never done a distance race on paddling, right now you can see Bodie kind of moving in. He wants to get right in that line. These guys want to stay with each other, just like riding a peloton in Tour de France or anywhere else. They're saving and conserving energy if they can stay right next to an individual. And that's a great example right there. The first rider is Erie Tenario. Number 2 is Jake Portwood. He is actually riding a little bit of his wave.
He is definitely side drafting right there. So he's gaining an advantage by side drafting on Erie. Bodie Von Allman's in a clean draft behind him.
Virtually, Bodie Von Allman is number 3 right behind.
Steve Miller's in 4th.
Steve Miller 4.
And
Peter number
in
5.
5th. And then it looks like the rest of the pack's coming up. Big Jamie, also in the Masters division.
Jamie, number 6.
Edwin Cornier from Puerto Rico is in 7th.
And let's talk about our females here. We have Fiona Wild, our number 1 female.
Yes.
On her starboard all-star.
Followed by Seychelles,
is
Stephanie Schidler, and Kim. So Seychelles, there goes Stephanie to get on Seychelles' draft. So Stephanie's making a move to get in behind Seychelles.
Fiona, Seychelles.
And they're going to try to catch Fiona. Fiona had a great start. Yes.
Yep. We've got Kate here, and I think Kate is a dark horse. She is. She has a background. I think she honestly has not only plenty of podiums, but some medals. Oh, look at that turn. Look at these. Okay, so these guys are going around the backside. This is a big circular course that they're going to do right now. You can see this beautiful line forming. They're following suit there.
There's Erie Tenario, looks like on the front of the screen. He decided he's going to go ahead and try to jump out here. Erie is, I would say, definitely the favorite for this race. He's had a super strong season on the professional circuit. So, and it looks like still Portwood and Bodie Von Allman in second and third. So.
Okay, so this is a really interesting thing that's happening right now. You know, when it comes to strategy, John, you tell me if I'm wrong here, but it almost looks like Erie is wanting to break free from Jake right now. He's saying, I don't want to give you a free ride. I'm going to put the afterburners on right now. I'm not going to wait till later. I want to break apart from you right off the bat, and I'm going to get my clean water the rest of the day, and I'm going to make you work for it. I'm not going to give you a free ride. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. There's a couple different strategies Erie could have played here, especially since Jake is a good friend of his and also a teammate. But, you know, the other
we'll
thing
see
with,
who's buying drinks later.
Exactly. You know, the thing you got to be aware of is not only is he pulling Jake along, but he would then be pulling Bodie and Miller and all the other guys that are sitting in. It looks like Peter's making a little move on the inside too. We're kind of losing sight of him here on screen, but anyway, Erie had to make a decision if he's either just going to go and make everyone work for it, or if he was going to try to sort of take his time and then make his move later. But it looks like he's hammered. I told him to set a course record today, so I think he's just trying to hammer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and something that's really very cool about this event that's happening right now is if you're looking to book your plane tickets, next year, the ICF World Championship is going to be at this exact same venue. So this, for many of these athletes, this is their trial run before they have 700 athletes that they're competing against next year for the World Championships. And, you know, like anything, when it's your home course, it's a huge advantage.
Absolutely. A lot of these guys are really looking forward to next year because they get the opportunity to paddle with all the world's best.
So here you see kind of the middle of the pack in that back group. These guys,
that's actually still the lead train right there.
That
was Portwood, Bodie, Miller, and Peter.
That final corner there.
Yeah, so that's still those guys, followed by your second pack, which is really close to those guys. But after about 1.5 miles to 2 miles, we'll really start to see the gap pull, I think, and you're going to see this top 5 guys sort of separate themselves.
Another thing that you're starting to notice, if you're watching their paddle cadence, they were going really fast those first couple minutes because they wanted to jockey for position. And now when it comes to a 6+ mile race or a 10K as we're doing today, you can't sprint 6 miles. So they have to
look at Erie's lead. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but see, he's already put a nice gap on the pack. He's going to make him work it. There's no doubt.
At least 15 board lengths already.
And a 10K is a great distance because these guys train for 10Ks a lot, and I feel like it's a manageable distance to where you can, pretty much go at level 4 or 5 the entire race. So it's going to be interesting when they come back around here to see what's happened with that second pack. Have they closed in on him? Has he pulled a bigger gap? What's happened to those 4 guys? Have they mixed it up? So right now we definitely have Erie Tenario in first, Jake Portwood in second, or I'm sorry, Bodie. No, I think it is Jake in second, Bodie
Jake
in third,
second, Bodie in third.
Miller and Peter. You can see there's a little side drafting going on, so there's somebody on the inside trying to kind of choose their own lane.
As you're looking right now in this beautiful drone shot, you can see Erie is that individual way up front, just taking that lead. And then you got the second group of those 4 gentlemen we were just talking about. They're kind of drafting, but they might be playing cat and mouse just a little bit. And then you have a really nice draft train, that third set of paddlers.
I would have to say that's third draft train you're seeing.
Maybe
is your
females.
top females with a couple males, maybe hopefully not drafting each other.
Yeah, we're not going to, we'll see what happens.
But those females will end up in that pack by the end of the race. Those guys are going to be slightly behind that top 5 males, because Seychelles, Kim, Stephanie, Fiona, I know I'm forgetting a couple, but
Cat's up there.
Cat's
I
up,
believe.
yeah,
Yep.
Cat. So they're going to be hanging there with that middle pack of guys for sure, and slightly behind the top 5. So those girls are really strong paddlers.
So for those of you new to stand-up paddling, there are a couple rules that these guys have to abide by. And one of them has to do with the drafting we were just talking about. It is illegal for a male to draft a female, or vice versa, a female to draft a male rider, because that's a disadvantage since they're essentially in a different race overall. There's a beautiful shot of where we're at here. We're up in that tower at Nathan Benderson Park. This is just one of the most amazing parks that we've been. Those athletes started right in front of that big tower. They wrapped their way around under those 2 bridges, and now they are making their way to the far side of the course. It's going to be a little challenging for those of you viewing out there, that they are close to a mile plus away. So we're going to get the best shots we can. Here's a great shot of some of these individuals up here.
So that looks like some women there. I see Kim Barnes and Stephanie. And
somebody just went in.
Somebody did just go in. I'm not sure.
Blue and white. Let's see if we can see who just went in. That's definitely not.
Looks like an SIC. I don't think any of the women were on a blue. That might have been one of our male competitors. But that did look like Seychelles and Kim. I don't know where Fiona's probably got still a lead. Well, that's going to be an interesting race to see what happens.
I think there's our 4 leaders. That
Chase pack.
Chase pack. That's the
Second through
first
fifth,
individual. Yeah. Yep, is number 2. That's Jake Portwood. Number 3, Bodie Von Allman. Virtually number 4 is Peter
yep.
Krzansky. And number
Steve Miller.
5, Steve Miller. So that's your 2nd through 5th individuals right there. We're going to try to pick up and see who number 7.
Yeah, let's try to see who this chase pack is. You know who this is in 7 is Andrew, the multi-paddler from Georgia.
Is he on a speedboard right
Yeah,
there?
he's on a speedboard. So that's Andrew. I'm not sure.
That's Andrew is
that's
2,
Peter.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
I think Andrew's number 7 there.
Yeah,
that's Andrew Searles. World-class canoe paddler.
We got Packett Casey on that draft train, Big Jamie Welch on that draft train. I'm not sure who's pulling that draft train. Oh, you know who that probably is Edwin Cornier, the young kid from Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Is probably pulling that train.
So 2, 3, 4, 5. You got a little bit of a gap right there between
There's your top
6,
10.
7, 8, 9, 10.
That's your top 10 or top 9 chasing Erie.
Erie, we're sorry you can't be in the video anymore. You went too fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're at a great like 2nd and 3rd chase pack there.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt that 3rd chase pack is going to want to catch that 2nd group to jump back on this draft train. The question is it possible?
Yeah, if they can close that gap, if Edwin can close that gap, and we're assuming that's Edwin, guys, apologies if it's not, because it's hard for us to see off this monitor as well. If Edwin can close that gap and recover behind those guys, then I feel they could stay with them for quite a while. So there'll be some jockeying coming up. If Edwin can close that gap, it's going to make a really interesting top 5.
And you can see right now that these guys have really fallen into their comfortable 10K cadence. I don't want to say comfortable because they are going full out. They're not holding really anything back.
Portwood just took a drink. I don't know if you noticed, but he's leading the pack, so he's setting the pace. He decided to take a drink.
Yeah, and I think he maybe even said, you know what, like I'm not catching Erie today. Let me set the pace so that if anybody tries to make a move on me, I can still have the energy I need to out-sprint them.
100%. So this is where strategy is going to come into play, right? Bodie's going to have to decide, do I just sit here as long as I can? Do I decide to make a move? Is Erie obtainable? So we're going to see some changes. If Jake is smart, he's not going to lead this entire time unless he's just setting his own comfortable pace and saving enough for the end. So this is going to be interesting. It looks like that 2nd pack is closing in. It might be a 9-board draft train right now.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is Jake is in a nice settled pace. You can see him on the far side of the lake.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have your 2nd through 9th place male riders all in a draft train right now, chasing Erie down and just getting comfortable. So interesting, like John was just saying a minute ago, there is so much strategy into, are you going to take the clean water and lead a draft train going full out, or are you going to kind of chat with your individuals behind and let them take the lead for a little while, work together a little bit so you can conserve some energy, so at the end you're not dogged out while everybody else was conserving probably 15%?
I'd say maybe even more, but
20%
15
energy
to
along the way.
20% energy. And as the draft train trickles back, it actually gets even easier. So the guys towards the back of the train, now obviously it's going to depend on their fitness level, right? So that still may be their 100% trying to stay on that draft train. So that's why a 6K race is important, or a 10K race rather. It's going to give the opportunity for the guys to definitely separate at some point. I don't see that pack staying together the entire 10K.
It'd be pretty impressive.
It would
pretty
be very
cool to see, but it would be pretty rare. Usually you have 3, 4, 5 individuals in a draft train.
Is that Erie like a very small dot approaching the buoy?
So
soon?
as you're looking here, you can see that there's a small buoy at the far corner where these paddlers are trying to make their way through right now. They're trying to get to that buoy. They're going to make a right-hand turn, and they're going to cut straight across. They're going to cut straight across the lake there.
Yeah, it looks like basically some
there's
90 degree,
pack again.
some basically right-hand 90-degree turns. And there's going to be, so here's where it's really going to get interesting. You can see Erie approaching the buoy.
So here's
now.
Erie approaching the buoy, and I think they tried to soften it up a little bit. It was real tight. You can see,
that's still a 90-degree turn.
Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting draft pack. So here's
back.
where you're going to see the pack break apart. And I'm speaking from experience of being in that pack sometimes. You have to make a clean turn, and you have to sprint out of that turn.
Let's catch that buoy turn with this.
Yeah, if we can catch the buoy turn
group.
with the group. Erie's just hammering on his own, but if we can get back to that buoy, you're going to see some gaps. You're going to see some board gaps, and we are going to see who's in shape and who's going to be able to close those gaps. So
this is definitely, there are key breaking
Portwood
points.
has the advantage here. So if he gets around this buoy clean and sprints out of it, he's going to make Bodie's doing a little inside paddle exchange turn.
Jake, clean turn.
Jake and Bodie, see, now Bodie is having a hammer
and
to
Jake
get on him, and he
right
did.
there.
So there's
Jake
your
and Bodie
gap.
breaking off.
There's
right
your
there.
gap. So
and
that's
you
what
can
I was
see him
talking
sprinting.
about. Now Steve Miller has to decide: I have to get around Peter if I want to catch those guys. So you're going to see. Look at Steve Miller making the move around Peter,
making the move
because he wants to get back on that draft pack with Bodie.
So lead change right there. Steve Miller just moved from 5th to 4th.
Yeah, and he's hammering. This is the test right here. This is your test, what you trained for, who can make that gap close. Otherwise,
and you can
there's
see
your top
you got a
three.
couple individuals there, 6 to 5.
Oh,
as
Peter
well.
just dropped back another spot, so it looks like
Is
Miller.
Peter going to catch on that draft train? He's got just a little bit of that slower, deep paddle cadence. It looks like he's even taking a breath there.
I'm really having a hard time distinguishing who that is behind him, behind Steve Miller. But look at Steve. He's closing the gap. He is definitely closing this gap. That is impressive. So he's got one more hump to get over, and he's going to be on Bodie's tail. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
There's no doubt that he conserved, or he used up some energy there.
Yeah.
When you have to re-catch up to those guys, you're paddling way faster than they are, and they're already paddling fast.
Yeah, so we've got Portwood in 2nd, Bodie in 3rd, Steve Miller in 4th. I'm going to say Edwin Cornier. We're going to be able to tell you guys when they get around this corner, and my apologies, but it looks like Peter's dropped back to about 7th position. So he had a great start, and I think that was one of the questions for some of these athletes that are coming from other sports, like are they going to be able to hold together the distance? They're both great sprinters, because I believe we do have Andrew on the speedboard.
Andrew Searles right there.
And Peter. So there's your two crossover athletes from other paddle sports. And they're doing a fantastic job.
So this is your male 10K riders here in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th,
8th. Yep.
in 8th. We'd love to see those females as well, and maybe catch in.
I would imagine those females are not too far behind this pack.
I would think they probably just went by that buoy, or they're getting close to it, and we can see if they're still staying in a pack or not. So these individuals, as you're seeing right now, they're going to the farthest point on the course.
Go. What do we have?
There's Erie, just
Erie,
making his way.
Yeah.
Making his way by himself. He's putting on a show.
You know,
right
Erie
there.
really is next level paddler this year. I mean, he's taken his game. He trains very, very hard. He's excited for Thailand next month. He is going to Thailand as well as Kim Barnes.
Nice. Well, we will see him there.
Yeah,
it's going to be a blast.
And I'm making the trip with him, so I'm excited to go to Thailand. Yeah.
There's that second buoy.
Yeah.
So now just perspective. Erie is making, they've all paddled at least probably 1.5 miles at this point. And they're making their way back to us. This is probably a 1 mile stretch. I think it's a 2,000 course right around here that Erie is coming back down. And we're going to get some bird's eye views of him close up as he makes his way around here.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get the women soon. There's your second pack of men coming. So there's going to be some moves here. It looks like Bodie's actually making a little move on Jake. Jake is on the inside. Let's see how we go here. Jake and Bodie both get around clean. Miller gets around clean. I'm assuming that's Edwin. Hopefully if it's not, I apologize to that
paddler. We'll find out. You got Andrew Searles there.
Andrew Searles, and then Peter as well. Peter's sitting there going, man, I need to get back on that train. So followed by Packet Casey, and then
about to make the turn right at the buoy.
Yeah, I recognize that orange tail on his flying fish board. So then
this is
that
where
next pack, maybe Steve Bernstein, Tillman, Miser. There's so many paddlers in that speed range.
We're gonna find out.
Big Jamie I see at the back of the pack because he's about 6'4", so he's sticking up.
Not exactly.
That's a good shot with Erie in the lead. You know, it's really hard to put in perspective how much of a lead he has in that shot, but it's a good. Oh, geez, I don't know. It's got to be a 200-meter lead, right, or close to.
I'd say he's definitely got a solid lead right there. So there you have your individual leader right there. You have 2 through 6 are now in their own draft train. 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that draft train split up around those buoys. It might be a question again. I wouldn't say it is going to happen, but it kind of looks like they're trying to reconnect.
If you see here, Bodie went ahead and is pulling the train now. So you got Bodie in second, Portwood in third, Miller in fourth. And that's sort of how Andrew's still hanging. That's great to see, and we'll be able to tell you guys a lot more here in about another mile or so.
Yeah, absolutely. If we can,
women have to be close to them.
If we can pull back and maybe get a shot of those the females in a little bit, we'd love to see what they are doing and give you an update on.
While we're looking at this shot, you can see that Andrew did close the gap and got on that draft train. So good for Andrew.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Peter's out in no man's land, kind of right in between.
Peter's,
at virtual 7. Okay, here's our females that we get to see.
Fiona's got the lead still. You can tell by that bright orange nose.
Bright orange starboard all-star right
looks
there.
Looks like Kim Barnes, Stephanie, Seychelles. So that looks like there's your top 4.
Now, who's on the outside that's taking?
Those are men. Those are going to be men.
Okay.
So Steve Bernstein, it looks like. I can tell by his paddle stroke. Okay, so here we go. Is this our pack of men, or that's third pack.
Yeah, this is Peter.
Yeah, that's Peter. So
Peter on your far right, Peter Grzanski, in it looks like a red shirt if you're trying to pick him out there.
He's from Canada.
By the 3 paddlers right behind. And then those females. So you can see what a pretty draft train. You can't even see how many are in there because they're in such a straight line. Now they're zigzagging just a little bit.
It's Fiona Wild, Kim Barnes, Stephanie Schidler, and Seychelles are the top 4.
So these are your top 4 female coming out. Man, I mean, they're just crushing it. I'm so glad that I'm not in the 10K because I would be behind half those females there. So Amazingly fast athletes, just totally out there crushing it. You know, I do want to take a moment to give a shout out to my wife, Megan Sanoa, because she is out there as well.
Oh, Megan's on the course. That's awesome.
She's on the course. She's been doing more race directing than racing this year, but she wanted to get back in there, so she is on the course there, probably just right behind those first 4 females.
Yeah, I'm sure she's
making her
close
way. I'm
to
surprised
making
we
that
don't
move,
see
right?
her right close to
She should be
number
making
5.
her move soon.
So she's right there. So, you know, personal shout out to my wife.
It
Love
is-
you, and I hope you're having a great race out there and smiling, not cursing.
Yeah, that's awesome. It is important to mention, though, with these women, if you do remember, Fiona got a really clean start. So it's important that, you know, Kim, Stephanie, and Seychelles were able to close that gap. So now it's a whole new race, right? These girls will probably stay together until one of them towards the end of the race decides to try to make a move. I know Seychelles, you know, an aggressive sprinter. So it's going to be fun to watch these top 4 women, but that's going to be pretty predictable, I think, as that's going to be your top 4.
There we go. And so, you know, something, you know, again, for all of you out there watching, one of the things that our paddlers have found in the past is learning to paddleboard and getting strength and endurance is where everybody starts, and they start to improve their fitness, and then they start to get into some races and learn. And then there comes a point where everybody hits a little bit of a wall where they have to learn about technique. And I think a great example of that right now is just looking at Erie, your number 1 paddler on the right there in that green flying fish board. You can tell that his paddle is nice, straight up and down. He's keeping a straight line. Obviously, the quickest point between 2 spots is straight, not zigzagging. I mean, look at that gap that he has put on that second chase group. You know, that's easily, he's got a 200-meter, you know, gap in between.
Yeah,
them
Erie has a professional coach in Brazil who's a very, Americo is his name. He's a great professional paddle coach, and so Erie not only trains hard, but his technique work is very, very important to Erie. So I know he spends a day or 2 a week working on strictly technique, so, or tecnica as he calls it.
That's right.
His Portuguese accent. But Erie is probably a poster child for technique, to be honest with you. And an impressive thing about Erie is he did have back surgery a little over a year and a half ago. So,
well, it seems like it really set him back.
It set him back, yeah. But Erie's doing his thing, so it's going to be fun to watch this next pack. So it looks like Portwood.
Jake Portwood, you're seeing here
Decides
in the
to
yellow
reach down
flying,
and cool off his hands, I guess.
yellow flying fish.
So he's decided to kind of go out on the zone on the side. He could be going ahead to maybe side draft on Bodie a little bit.
He's riding a quick blade. He's riding that new
Stingray,
that new Stingray paddle, which everybody is just curious about.
Yeah, Miller's also riding it, and Peter I noticed had it. So it's interesting to see the sport evolve, and Jimmy's always coming up with trick new designs. So
quick blade, Black Project, Starboard, some of the top paddles probably in the world. There's definitely a handful of others that are right up there as well.
The Hippo Sticks and
Hippo
others,
Sticks
so,
for
yeah.
sure. Been a long around time. Yeah, so there's this is your second pack here.
Yeah,
Yep.
This is still, so you can see Jake, I guess,
3,
is
4, 5,
working
6.
his way back to the front. Now Bodie's side drafting Jake a little bit. Anybody who has if you're say a quarter to halfway behind to the side of somebody, you're riding their side wake. But right now, I don't even think Bodie's really getting much side wake help right there.
He's got a little bit of a gap
Yeah.
over there between there.
I'm not sure what Jake's thinking right here. Jake's probably thinking, I don't want to fall to the back position at this point, so I'm just going to sit here and try to control the pace.
Probably also a little bit of just, maybe nobody's
There's a
catching his
good look at Erie's technique. Nice reach. So he makes it look very easy, Rob.
Looking really good. Again, this is the 2023 ICF World Cup here in Sarasota, Florida at Nathan Benderson Park, the most beautiful world-class venue that we've been to. The World Championships will be here next year, and I'm so excited to be back here again to watch probably 700-plus athletes coming out to make their mark and have eternal eternal glory. One of the things that's really important is there's money on the line today. As a matter of fact,
the women have shuffled around here a little bit. Sorry to interrupt you, Rob.
Little spinning of
we've
of
got
the
Kim
females
Barnes
here.
now. It looks like Fiona's going to drop to the back of the train. Like I said, these 4 girls are going to end up working together the entire race, I believe. So we've got now Kim Barnes.
Looks like Fiona maybe. Is she in second?
Maybe side drafting her. It's hard to say. They're mixing it up, right? They're not in a draft train, that's for sure. So Kim Barnes, Stephanie, Fiona, Seychelles, they're basically all together.
They're all right there, probably changing around. If you've ever been in one of these draft packs, clearly we can't hear them. But just like if you were hearing audio on a football field, there's a lot of chatter that's going on here, and it depends on who you're with. But there's no doubt all these pro athletes that you're watching right now, they know each other, and they're talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're talking a little bit. They're saying, "Hey, you going to take the lead?" Or how about you take the pull for a little while? Or
Seychelles sitting in the best position right now. She's at the back of the train, conserving the most amount of energy. So we'll see, how this plays out. We still have quite a ways to go.
Seychelles on that red and white SIC. You can see her kind of. I
believe
she's
that's
the farthest to the left.
A couple of the male paddlers I do know, so I'll announce them. That's Steve Bernstein in the Masters division, 50
Over to
plus,
your left
and
there, right behind the female. Tillman Meisner.
Meisner, or Tillman, is it? I might have messed up his last name, but Tillman there with him. So Tillman's out of Maryland, so he made the trip.
Yep.
Tillman Meisner, he made the trip from Maryland down here to race, so good on him. And then Steve Bernstein is one of your Masters paddler.
We've got individuals from the East Coast, Maryland, all the way from Oregon and California on the West Coast.
Puerto Rico,
Costa Rica. We have Denmark represented here this weekend.
Canada.
Is Erie officially Brazil?
Erie
now?
is married.
Florida
Yeah,
now?
Erie's married now, so he is officially Florida. He lives in St. Augustine.
USA. We can
But
just
he's
say
there's a
Brazil.
lot of Brazilian pride there. As we can see Erie now, he's coming across the front of the tower, so we're getting a great shot of him. So, well, we can tell you right now because we can see the 200-meter mark. So he's got about a 180-meter lead on these guys.
Yep. Here's our initial pack coming through right here. This is your second, third, fourth, fifth riders here.
And here's where we can identify for sure who's sitting in 5th place behind Steve Miller. I believe it is Edwin Cornier, but I just want to confirm. It looks like his stroke to me. So let's wrap up this. We got Erie Tenario in 1st, Jake Portwood 2nd, Bodie Von Allman, Steve Miller sitting there in 3rd, Edwin Cornier in 5th, and Andrew Searles in 6th. So there's your top 6 guys. I don't see that changing too much. We're going to see if Bodie and Jake try to make any sort of move on these other guys, but I got to believe they're all
that number
stay
17,
together.
Erie right there. Just what a beautiful paddle stroke as he's making his way. So he is now making his way on the 2nd lap. They are halfway through their race at this point, and they are going to do that all over again. If you are sitting on the couch hanging out watching with us.
Look at Bodie and Jake. They're going to approach this buoy. It's not the sharpest turn out there.
But it is a turn.
Oh, it's a turn, and Bodie has the inside. So let's see who gets around clean.
Probably 45-degree turn to the right. And again, this is one of those times where
there's some foot steering going on here. So this is where board design. You can see Bodie really weighting that foot to turn the board. That's all foot steering.
Leaning on his left.
Yeah.
And
So
they're
all those
paddling
guys
on their
just
left.
did a nice foot steer. Really impressive performance by these guys.
No change there at all. Sitting in the right spot.
Yeah. So this is great.
We also could pick up here.
Let's see. Oh, we're
7, 8, 9, and 10 here.
We're
There's
back
your
on the
females right
women.
here. Here's your females right there. You have Kim Barnes.
Stephanie Schidler in 2nd, Seychelles in 3rd, and then Fiona decided to settle into the back. They're all conserving, working together, so we'll see some moves, I think.
I think it's interesting. Sometimes there is almost a little agreement. Yep. There's a little agreement between paddlers sometimes as far as when we get to this certain mark, we're all gonna
We're gonna
sprint at it, Although they're working together now,
Yeah.
they also want the win. And like we were saying before, there's $10,000 total being given out in prize money this weekend. Each of these
Absolutely.
races has $3,400 giving out, split evenly between the male and female riders. First place rider for both male and female are going home with $800 in their pocket. Second place, $500, and third place taking home $400. So that's at least helps cover some travel.
Yeah. So we can see the women now approaching the turn to start their second lap, and nothing's changed. Kim Barnes in the front, Stephanie Schidler in second, with Seychelles and Fiona in third and fourth. So both Kim and Stephanie, I just know from personal experience, are distance paddlers. That's their forte. They like distance. Stephanie couldn't make it yesterday for the sprints. Kim was ecstatic to get second in the sprints yesterday because I know her strength is the distance. She won Chattajack a couple times. She's won the Carolina Cup this year. And so she just won the Key West Classic. These are all distance races. So Kim is definitely comfortable at a 10K. So this is going to be fun to watch. We'll see. I don't see this pack breaking up too much, though, until the end. So.
Man, what a pretty shot. You got all these individuals just making their way, looking really great here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keying in there. So you can see this is a great example of a really great paddle stroke is not with your arms. That's what everybody starts to do. They kind of feel like they need to stand up straight, and they use that paddle to move around. And you quickly learn that your arms are going to wear out a lot faster than your legs and your back muscles. And you can see Kim Barnes here paddling on her left side, using her back muscles. So now they're all trying to make that turn.
Yeah.
Like John was saying, foot steering is a really cool concept where if they lean on that opposite side, they're all leaning, they have more pressure on their left foot right now. And that's going to veer the nose of their board to the right so they can gently make that turn, but they're not losing speed while doing it by trying to paddle backwards or do any type of reverse turn or a sweep turn out to the side. So that's a nice way where they can keep the same speed. They definitely made a tighter turn than the boys did.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a nice
they're
turn.
going right at the shoreline.
It's interesting to see too, as a board designer myself. You have two different types of boards there, right? You have the R2 Freedom Pros at the front, and then the SICRS that Seychelles on. Those are all water type boards. But you know what? I take that back. Fiona's also on the All Star, so she's on an all water board.
Yep, she's on a 20.5 All Star right there.
So that's great. So that just shows you guys that even these all water boards are fast and flat water. There's so many advantages to like foot steering and drafting and things that all water boards can really benefit you. So all four of those women are on all water boards. That's awesome to see.
All right, these are some of our other athletes coming through here.
Yeah, I can name off some of these guys for you. That's on the screen is Mark Hewitt. He's in the Masters division.
Yep, Mark Hewitt,
in front of Mark
super fast
Hewitt,
rider there.
I believe might be John Sekas. Do you know the number? Can you pick
Let's
up the
see,
number?
25.
Yeah, John Sekas is
25, and
that is Troy Pulley. That's Stephanie's boyfriend, Stephanie Schidler's boyfriend, Troy. And then behind that is Gerald. That's our junior leader. So there's Gerald Cornier. That's who's on the middle of the screen right now. So that's
Gerald
your junior
Cornier
leader.
winning the 200-meter junior sprint finals yesterday.
All right, we
coming a little bit further right behind these guys. We're back. Getting lost a little bit.
Lost the screen here.
Okay, so we're looking at the back side of the course right now. Probably catching our leaders. This is back to our second pack.
Chase pack.
Bodie, Jake,
Miller, and Edwin. Yeah, and so it hasn't changed.
Searles.
Andrew's still hanging on to the back. So Andrew, super impressive job.
And you can see they kind of went by a little bit of a side-by-side.
That's a great shot right there.
Little side-by-side stagger. The three guys on the right in their draft train, the two on the left.
Yeah.
There's going to be a little bit of side wash happening there.
Yeah. Great shot right
Andrew
there.
Searles making a move to the left. He says, you know what, I'm going to follow this left side.
Yeah.
Pack, see,
so it looks like you've got Miller riding on Bodie's tail, and you have Edwin riding on Jake's tail. So And then Andrew chose the left train.
Yeah, he's going to go to the left side.
Miller. He's staying behind Miller.
See what happens there.
Here, a couple of our other female athletes just crossed the course. I will give you guys an update, even though you can't see them on the screen. But you have Victoria Burgess was in 5th place, and this is now Caitlin McElroy. She's
in
on 6th place.
She's on an Infinity Whiplash today. Looking,
that is a Whiplash. Yes,
that's the new Infinity Whiplash Hollow.
So that's a good flat water board and the perfect board for these conditions. So good for her.
A lot of different board constructions in the making here. Some of the boards trying to go hollow on the inside as opposed to foam on the inside or closed cell.
And then we have a couple more. Well, you guys can't see them on screen, but looks like Vicky Morales and Alice Badson. So a few more of the women making their turn here. So back to your screen, though, in the center, it's still that same 4 guys. Looks like Portwood and Bodie are deciding to just go side by side.
Making it happen, making it look good.
Yeah.
A huge shout out to some sponsors. Without sponsors, clearly these races can't happen. Oh, that was a interesting move right there.
I missed that by Vicky.
Interesting move.
And there's Alice coming around. She's your women's masters, and I'm sure there's some other women's masters in here.
So shout out the sponsors. Visit Sarasota. They are. They're here today as well, giving out some information and making sure that you know all about this beautiful area that we are in. And we've been here for a couple of days. Sarasota is absolutely gorgeous. It's right on the coast. There's beautiful Gulf Coast, white sandy beaches within 15-20 minutes of this park that are nearby. A gorgeous community, lots of arts and music and theater all around here. Benderson Development, Shoemaker, Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, big sponsors. Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, which is right down the road, also making this venue really nice to be at, that you can get to this venue within 15 minutes from the airport, and it's not a monster airport either, so it's a little easier to get in and out of. Sarasota County, Manatee County, also big sponsors here. The mall of the University Town Center, which is just within sight distance. We're actually staring at it. It's a beautiful town center. ABC 7 and My Sun Coast taking care of all kinds of great things here. Sarasota Memorial Urgent Care Centers as well. There's a full medical team on hand here. We've got 2 EMTs and a physician there for any of these athletes' needs or health concerns if anything comes up. And again, a big shout out to the individuals that really don't get the recognition that they deserve, and that's all the ITOs. Those are the technical officers out here making sure all these athletes go around the buoys they're supposed to, make sure they're not drafting where they're not doing, they're starting the races. The timers down on the 3rd floor doing an amazing job. And all the individuals are race director KT doing this, ICF, and Hoi Chan, who's here from the ICF, helping make sure this event goes great. We really appreciate all these individuals that you will not see today on the camera, but they are there. It takes an entire tribe to run a race. Unfortunately, you can't just throw a couple buoys out and say go.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rob, but the women have made a little shift here, so it looks like Stephanie Schidler has decided to pull the lead now. So you have Stephanie in 1st, Kim Barnes in 2nd, Seychelle in 3rd, and Fiona in 4th. So I'd have to say, just, watching this women's race unfold, Seychelle has raced it the smartest because she has sat in either 3rd or 4th position the whole time. So she's conserving the most amount of energy. But I do know that Stephanie and Kim, obviously being teammates, they're working together. So
Fiona just coming off a shoulder surgery last year, just rehabbing.
It's just awesome to see her back paddling.
She's,
racing.
She pulled the first half, and now she's sitting in the back there, just again
conserving. Yeah, this is going to be fun to watch with these women at the end to see what happens. Just like it will the top, the 2nd through 5th in the men's. So
a lot of times it seems like there's 2 different points often that individuals are making a move, and sometimes that's that last mile or so, somewhere in there they find a point where they say, you know what, like, this is where I'm going to do my sprint, to try to maybe break away. And then, of course, if it's tight when it comes to the last 200 meters, which are going to be right in front of us, we're going to have a front row seat to those individuals. If they decide to go all out and sprint to the finish, that is going to be glorious.
Absolutely.
For the second pack and third pack of men and that pack of females to see how they can come in and just crush it to the finish.
We can't see it on the screen right now, but they have to come through a set of buoys before they make the final sprint to the finish. So they're going to paddle in towards us at the tower, come through 2 buoys, and then it's a 230-meter sprint or so to the end. So I feel like that's where you're going to see the moves make. They're not going to start too early. A mile is a long way to sprint. So we're going to see what strategy either Kim, Seychelle, Fiona, or Stephanie take.
That start line that you saw them come in on is where that funnel is going to happen. They're going to get funneled together.
Right there, they're showing us on the camera there.
Oh, beautiful. That's where they're going to funnel in. They're going to come from the far side where you see paddlers now. And on that second lap, they have to go around the buoy that you see on the far left. They're going to come across the lake into those 2 starting buoys, and then they have a 230-meter sprint to the finish for cash in their pocket, eternal glory for decades to come for the ICF World Cup here. And, of course, bragging rights.
Yeah, absolutely.
To everybody that they're paddling with. We've got a lot of paddlers that are on this 10K course that are still making their way around right now. They're getting close to, finalizing their first lap of the day.
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome to see all these other paddlers out here competing. This is an event for everybody, like you had mentioned earlier, Rob. So even next year's event, I believe, is open to people to register. The World Championships is as well, is it not?
100%.
Yeah.
You can be an individual.
Highly recommend you coming here next year for the World Championships. You will see the world's best paddle athletes and be able to line up right next to them. So that's pretty cool.
We talk about this often. It's one of the few sports that you can throw your hat in the ring, although you might not be up front, but you can literally stand next to your pro favorite athletes and paddle with them in the same race at this point. Stand-up paddleboarding is still relatively a very young sport.
So you see that second pack of guys chasing Erie. They're getting ready to approach that far buoy on the southeast corner of the lake, and Erie's nowhere in screen, right? So we talked earlier about we're going to see what happens. So clearly I believe we can say that Erie's going to hold on to the victory. This is going to be your real race for 2nd through 5th.
And you can see right there in the background, you've got one of our safety boats that also has an ITO officer on there, making sure all these gentlemen get around that buoy to make sure.
Let's see if there's some moves made at this buoy, because remember, if the first time Miller had to really make a move to close that gap, if you remember. So here it looks like Jake and Bodie get around clean.
Bodie's working for it.
Yeah, Bodie's working for it. You can see Miller and Edwin are working hard to get back on their draft.
Andrew Searle's right behind.
Andrew's got a sprint up there.
Yeah. Andrew has a little bit of that slower cadence,
yeah,
but
he's
power.
got that power strength. Let's see. He closed it. Okay, so it looks like those guys closed the gap. So
I think they saw what Jake did last time, and they were like, okay, I need to be ready.
They were prepared
for a mini sprint after he makes his turn. They didn't want to get left behind.
So they have one more 90-degree turn coming up here before the final stretch. Because the buoy that they're coming through here that we showed earlier, that's the start and finish line, that's not a real aggressive turn, so they'll probably foot steer around that. So one more 90-degree turn for somebody to make a move. So,
and again, if you're just joining us, you're looking at the male 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th.
Look at, is this? No, that can't be Erie. That is Erie, the leader. I'll be darned, man. He is really putting it down. I know Erie's goal was to break an hour. So we'll see how that. Yeah, that doesn't look like Erie, but it could.
Is that on the backside there?
It's hard to tell.
No, these are individuals coming towards the far buoy going that opposite way.
Okay. Yeah, that didn't look like Erie. So
These are some other individuals on the course making their way. Again, this is just a huge rectangular area. The Nathan Benderson Park, this started, although nobody likes to admit it, but this was a construction dump site back 40, 50 years ago, and the city of Sarasota said, let's clean this area up and make this a health and wellness center. Nathan Benderson, this was named after him later after some large grants to develop this whole area to be a sports complex for everybody to enjoy. And I couldn't say they could have done a better job, because it's absolutely a gorgeous place. There is a 5K walking trail around the whole outside here, and it's just a really wonderful place to hang out. There's a huge playground for kiddos, and of course a world-class facility right there. I'm going to give a shout out as well, because I see my wife making her first lap here, Megan Sanoa.
Megan,
she's
there
riding
you
her
go.
Infinity Blackfish, about to make her final turn of the first lap here. We see also, you can't see on your screen there, these are the guys going, let's switch gears.
yeah, they're coming under the bridge
going
now.
under a
So-
bridge. This is really cool. There's an entire bridge that helps break up these courses.
So they're almost to that final right-hand turn. And before we get too excited about this finish that's coming up, there's your leader, Erie. I want to talk about that second chase pack really quick, because being a Masters paddler myself at 50 plus, I want to just let you know that Steve Miller is in that pack, and he is your Masters leader. So he's technically not even in the open race. So we are actually looking at first through fourth. Miller's going to win the Masters, correct? He's not in the open. So if we look at Steve Miller, I just thought about that. He's listed Masters, not open.
Masters open, but he still is going to be taking home a overall check. Because
that would be nice if that's.
I still
okay.
believe it's overall.
That would be amazing if it is. I know he would love that, because he had to debate whether he wanted to race in the Open or the Masters. But either way, he's 50-plus years old, and he's virtually sitting in second, third place right now. I mean, they're all together. So there they are, making that last right-hand turn, that last 90-degree turn. So it looks like you still have them all bunched together with Portwood and Edwin and Andrew and Bodie and Miller. So they're all side by side, it looks like. This is interesting. Edwin sort of just fell in behind Jake and Miller. Maybe it's just the angle. I think it's still Jake and Bodie. So, but there's your top 5 guys for sure, with Erie clearly in the lead. It's going to be interesting to see if Erie breaks an hour. I told him I wanted 55 minutes. I don't know. So Erie's on the home stretch, though, so he's on this final, maybe mile tops. I don't know. We're going to see Erie come through here. It's been 48 minutes so far.
Yep, right now our official time, 49:27. And he's on the back stretch.
Yeah, he's on the back stretch.
You can see him coming in there. He's, he's not letting up. He's putting on a masterclass show here today. Just looking absolutely excellent. Stand-up paddlers paddle on both sides of the paddle. Some canoe sports only paddle on one. We use staggered stances. We use straight stances. We use surf stances that we can paddle on both sides depending on what the wind is doing. And talking about conditions, again, just to put it in perspective, there's maybe a 6 to 7 mile an hour wind that we saw that's coming out of the northwest, just a little bit. So for these guys, it's negligible. They might feel it maybe in a couple spots on the course, cooling them down just a little bit or pushing them. It's still a little toasty out there.
That is another factor if you bring it into, a guy like Peter coming from northern Canada.
I don't think Peter has a lot of humidity.
Yeah, so he's
Canada.
Coming to Florida, and he's wondering, how do these guys live in these? So,
and that's a big thing as well.
Huge thing for these guys. You can see Peter on the screen. He's still in that next all by himself.
That no man's land.
Just no man's land.
He's run his own course.
With Packett and Big Jamie right behind him. So there's your Masters. Other top 3 Masters is Packett, Casey, and Big Jamie Welch.
Those are the guys on the far left that you're catching
far left
there.
of the screen.
Peter Kozansky right in front, that third from the left as well. And again, your 2 through 6 individuals there, there.
With Miller in that pack being your 50-plus leader. So that's an impressive job by those guys. I personally know all of them, and they're all super incredible athletes.
So right now, this is their last mile. They're on mile 5.
Okay. Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah.
Coming to 10K, 6.2.
Yep. Absolutely.
Plus or minus some change depending on exactly how the race finished out, which we'll find out later. But I think this is going to be very close to a true 10K, and they're on their last lap. So it's again they're following each other. They're following that same pace. But I would not be surprised to see over the next 5 minutes
if you
here.
Look at that. That is not a draft train by any means.
It's looking a little bit
they're
sloppier
shaking
right now.
up. Yeah, they're starting to shake some things up. So people are trying to make moves. The guy, I'm sure Bodie and Jake are trying to figure out what they want to do. And then you have Miller and Edwin and Andrew just trying to decide, do I continue to draft? Do I try to make a move myself? Who's going to be the best conditioned at the very end is going to be your deciding factor, because these guys all have the same skill level, obviously.
It's always more fun when we're sitting up here not paddling, where we can say, like, I wonder if they're going to be sprinting.
Yeah, and there's Erie making it look easy. So.
Or if they're going to go for it. But in reality, it absolutely, this is when it comes down to conditioning.
Yeah, Erie's approaching that, I believe, 1,500-meter sign. So, or maybe he's even past it, it looks like, according to this shot. So, yeah, Erie is definitely on the home stretch. I believe he can make this under an hour. This is going to be impressive.
53 minutes. He's got 7 minutes to get that done.
Yeah, I'm saying he can paddle that far in 7 minutes for sure.
That's what he's going for.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. But you can see that second chase pack is, well, at least from our perspective, I'm sorry, it's well in the distance. So
okay, so we do have some clarification that the Masters are not check holding individuals. So the individuals winning will only be those who chose to be in the open category, and they had a choice. If you're in the Masters division.
You know what? Knowing Miller, he's not going to care about that money as much as he's going to care about finishing in the top 3 or 5. So
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you have to make that decision when you register. Last year, Miller could have signed up for Masters in Oklahoma, and he chose not to. He raced in the Open, and this year he decided, since he is 50 plus, that he'll do the Masters. Because last year in Oklahoma, it was 45 and up was the Masters. So there's Erie. He just passed the 1250 meter mark. So that's what Erie has left to paddle. And we're sitting at 54 minutes now. So
Steve Miller, although going to get the glory,
may not get the money.
May not get the money. So we're going to have to maybe have a slight shift of who we have at first, second, third.
Correct.
As they cross the
so
finish
I guess
line.
we should call it as open. As the Open, or are we just still calling it as the overall?
Well, I think we're going to have both.
Both. We'll make it work. There's 2 of us.
I think we can do it.
Yeah, I think
we've got calculators and some pens in front of us, and with our skills combined.
Yeah, there's your chase pack. It has not changed much at all, and mad props to all those guys. So,
what if we could get an overhead shot of them as they come in? Wouldn't that
would
be cool
pretty
to see?
Awesome. Erie's rounding that final buoy now to angle in towards the start-finish line. So
Erie is 500 yards maybe from the finish. It's 55 minutes. He's going for under an hour, and he's not holding back.
Goal.
He's not holding back. You can see just that great paddle
amazing.
stroke.
He's actually picking his cadence up a bit, as though he's training for Thailand. He's treating this like Thailand. He's going to have the Michael Boos and the Shrimpies and everyone else with him in Thailand. So he's training for that. And you can see he's really putting down the hammer. He's well-conditioned athlete, so for him, this is well within his range. He's not going to blow himself up, so to speak, as you and I may, Rob.
He does, yeah. He also, he's, man, I mean, just what a great paddle stroke coming in here. Again, if you're joining us, this is the ICF 2023 World Cup Championship.
What a great shot of Erie on the screen.
Happening in Sarasota, Florida. We are looking at your first place male open paddler, and we're going to see all these guys finish within the next 5 to 10 minutes. You're going to be catching the finish of both male and female paddlers coming through here.
I have to give myself a little plug here because I designed that board with our team. Tim Warner played a huge role in that, and all of our team riders, Steve Miller and Big Jamie that works for us. But that's the new Freedom Pro dugout, and Erie is making it look good. He's riding a 21.75, which is actually a fairly wide board for this type of race, but he rides the same board everywhere he races. Same board, no matter what. Ocean, flat water. So
there he is. He's making his final turn. He is 200 meters away.
Final 200 meters
from the finish. Erie
Erie Tenorio.
You're number one. He's listening to us. I think you can hear us on
Erie.
the mic. Let's go, Erie. Looking good. Number 17, making his way there. You see he's got a paddle leash on. All paddlers are required to have a leash.
Looking strong.
And they all have a waist pack on because that is safety and that is the rule.
Is going to break the hour mark. He's sitting at 57:13 right now, so he's got another half a minute or so to go. So super proud of Erie. He honestly is, it's hard for me not to get emotional. He's like a kid to me. He calls me his American dad. And
American Papa.
Yeah, so really proud of Erie. He's worked so hard in the last 5 years with us to work his way to this level.
There he goes.
And
He's getting some cheering from the crowd.
Clearly is putting the exclamation mark on this race to show everybody who's the best paddler at this event. There is no doubt, no controversy, thank goodness, and Erie is crossing the finish line.
Not only your 200-meter.
And this is fun because out of the corner of my eye, I'm also watching the top five come. We're going to switch over as soon as Erie finishes.
Here's Erie coming across the finish line.
58.08. Great job, Erie.
Oh,
yes,
he
sir.
throws his paddle. He's
absolutely
done.
Great job. And he does a headstand.
Erie's doing a headstand on his board.
KT said no headstands at the finish, only after the finish.
Only after. There it is right there.
Oh, Erie's
All
happy.
Right,
Good for him.
Let's switch to this second men's pack. We've got 2 through 6 coming up here, and we've already had somebody drop off.
We've had Andrew's dropped off.
Andrew
so now
dropped
we've
off.
got these top 4 guys entering the final start-finish line for their 200-meter sprint to the finish.
This is a 4-horse race right here.
Look at this battle between Jake Portwood, Bodie Von Allman, Steve Miller, and Edwin Cornier. Edwin is a 21-year-old out of Puerto Rico. This is a huge race for Edwin. Then, of course, Bodie. Many of us know Bodie from the Northeast or the Northwest. And Miller and Portwood, so this is an exciting race.
They're all making a slight left-hand turn right now, so you can see them paddling on the right side to get jockeying, and they are pretty much lined up right now. You can't see it right now, but they are directly lined up. They have one straight 200-meter shot right now.
Let's see it because Jake Portwood is sitting in second right now.
There's Jake.
And he is your sprint. Yesterday he was second place in sprints behind Erie, and look at Jake. Making the move. Steve Miller sitting in third.
He's sitting in third. Bodie Von Allman's not going to let him go, though. He's making a little bit of a surge there.
They're side by side, honestly. If Portwood can hold this together, he's got about a half a board length lead.
Jake Portwood on your right. He's your number 2.
Miller wants it. Look at Miller.
Fast cadence. Super
Miller
fast
wants
cadence.
it. It's these top 3 guys. Edwin's falling back a little bit, so Miller's going to try to take this third spot. Miller wants it. He's like, I don't care about the money. I want the spot. Bodie doesn't want to let it happen. Bodie's like, no, sir. They are neck and neck. They're neck and neck. Whoa, Bodie's chilling. Wait, what is Bodie doing?
Interesting.
Is Bodie? Oh, wow.
There's Jake. I think Bodie just said, you know what?
So we're going to take Jake Portwood in second place, Steve Miller in third. Bodie is technically third. Bodie is third,
but
in the
4th
open
overall, and you've got Edwin right behind him.
Edwin right behind him.
Is Edwin in the junior or open?
No, he's in the open. Edwin's 21 years old.
Bodie just realized.
Bodie just realized.
Yeah. Okay, he's got to put the gas on right now.
Yeah, so that's what happened. He knew Miller was in the Masters. You know what? These guys.
Number 2, Jake Portwood. Number 3, Bodie Von Allman. Number 4, Edwin Cornier.
But that is an incredible race by these guys. And you invited me up here, so I've got to plug my boys. Flying Fish with the top 3 boards across the finish line on the distance. So I will take that all day long. Good job, boys. I know you can hear me down there. Oh, my gosh. And look at Bodie. those guys are spent. Those guys are spent. Here's our times. Look at our times.
58,
Wow.
1 minute,
Look at the gap between Portwood and Bodie.
Here you go. You see Andrew Searles on your
Andrew. Great job by Andrew as well. Wow.
Coming in, crossing the finish line as we speak right there.
Yeah.
Great job, Andrew.
I'd like to see Edwin's time. Edwin was right with him. Why is Edwin? We need Edwin's time in there. They skipped over Edwin, so we'll see if we get Edwin. Here comes your women's.
Yep.
The women's are about maybe 800 meters away still.
They're getting close to making that turn where
and they're still together. Like we kind of predicted
well.
this. They're starting to make some moves. Seychelles definitely making a move on the inside. So we've got Seychelles, Kim, Stephanie, and Fiona all together.
So we have our
amazing race. Yes.
We've got our top 6 males riders that have come through, and let's see. We've got 7, 8, and 9.
This is Peter coming in, right? We know Peter's hang with that lead pack for the first little bit of the race.
And as you're seeing right now, here are your female riders, and they're pretty much in the same order, except
Kim
there we go. Here's number 7.
Yeah, Peter's coming through the finish to number
Peter
7.
Kazansky, he was number 3 in the 200-meter sprint.
Sprints, yeah.
Yesterday, coming in number 7.
And then if we can pan back to the next 2 paddlers, that'll wrap out our top 3 masters, because that's Packett Casey and Jamie Welch. So there's your masters. They're not putting them on the screen, but there's Peter's finish, and
Nice
we're going to
job,
see these
Peter.
guys coming in now on screen from your left. They should be coming on screen soon, and
great job,
we got
Peter
some times with
Kazansky.
Edwin's there. Okay,
1 hour, 2 minutes, 28 seconds.
There's your masters men's coming in. Packett Casey and Jamie Welch.
There's
your 50 plus.
9 and 10 overall.
3.
All right,
Nice.
let's see what these females are doing, because we can see them from
Oh,
the
my
screen
goodness.
here, and they are going on it. So
This is an amazing race.
Okay, so
Look
this
at
is
Fiona.
So this is where Seychelles, like we were talking about, she was, in that draft train, and like you said, John, she was
look at Kim and
conserving
Seychelles.
energy.
Oh, yeah.
And now she is right there, right
See?
next to Kim, and they are going at it. You can see they're putting their entire body weight down into that paddle to keep that
But
board
really,
moving.
virtually all 4.
Oh
are,
my goodness,
are
straight
neck
across.
and neck.
Straight across. So left to right, you have Fiona Wild.
Yeah.
You have Stephanie Scheidler.
Yep.
Then you have
Seychelles
Seychelles
and Kim Barnes.
and Kim Barnes, all just neck and neck. I mean, you can't even virtually.
There's a half a board length that Seychelles and Kim have right now, maybe on those girls. Maybe a half a length. Half a board length.
Looks like those two on the right, just a little bit.
So you got Seychelles and Stephanie on
Yeah,
the
it
side.
looks like they kind of made an agreement.
This is the final 200-meter sprint.
They're now at they just passed the initial start buoys. They are 200 meters away from their finish. So this is it. Everything is on the line right now.
They are feeling it.
If they have any gas left in the tank, it's coming out. And if they don't have gas, they're going to
Look at this sprint. This is the race. Kim has the virtual
Kim Barnes,
lead right now.
Seychelles, Stephanie Scheidler.
Stephanie Scheidler. Come on, Steph.
Neck and neck. Fiona Wild, you see
Fiona's
that orange
creeping
nose
up.
right there, halfway between.
Kim Barnes.
Stephanie Scheidler
What
looks like
a
she's
race
making
right
a
now.
move. Looks like she's making a little bit of a move.
Stephanie is making a move. Stephanie's a strong upwind paddler.
We're looking a little bit of a sideways shot now.
Yeah, she's got a bit of an upwind right now, and Stephanie is a strong upwind paddler. Oh,
there they
what
are.
a race between Kim, Seychelles, Stephanie, and Fiona.
Fiona's dropped back just kind of right behind, but she does have a little bit of an inside lane, though. I don't think that matters right now.
This is the race, guys.
If you are watching, these are your 2023 ICF World Cup women's 10K racers coming to the finish line.
Unbelievable.
There's Kim Barnes picking up her cadence. Seychelles, same thing.
It's neck and neck. It's the angle
They're
on the TV, the angle on the screen is not showing you.
Stephanie Scheidler right there, number 69 right there. 36 is
I'm
Seychelles.
giving Seychelles the slight advantage right now. It's hard on the angle of the screen.
Looks like Seychelles. Look, they're not even looking. They just know they have to go straight. Seychelles looks like virtually number
like
one.
Seychelles
Kim Barnes virtually number 2. Stephanie Scheidler just took a little bit of a break in her paddle stroke. Number 3.
Seychelles.
Kim
Barnes
crossing
Stephanie
the finish
Scheidler.
line.
Wow.
Woo! Seychelles, Kim Barnes, Stephanie Scheidler, Fiona Wild. Those are your top 4 females.
And you can see Seychelles.
Just look at them.
She gave it her all at that final sprint. So,
wow.
I'd have to say Seychelles raced a really smart race. I mean, she did hang towards the back of the draft pack most of the time and let those girls pull, So she raced a really smart race and showed her sprinting skills. She was the sprint champion yesterday, correct?
Yep.
And actually, it's the same results as yesterday with Kim. Kim got second in the sprints, and then Stephanie wasn't here, and then Fiona. So that's an incredible race, Rob. Wow.
Looking pretty amazing. Those were your top females coming through.
Oh.
And there's no doubt, I mean, this is where we all are happy and amazing to see, and they are all just, they're sucking some air and they're getting some water. Most of them had water packs on today that they were drinking some water along the way. But
here comes Steve Bernstein across the finish, your 4th place Masters, 50 plus. So Steve's a good friend of mine from Jupiter.
Way to go, Steve. Nice racing today.
Yeah, so great job for him. So looks like our team took the Masters. I like that. So
excellent showing. We're down here in Florida. This is, this would be flying fish territory.
It is.
For sure.
Couple more guys coming in. We got another Masters paddler, John Sekas, on the left of the screen, and that's Tillman Meisner on the right from Maryland.
You don't come into this Florida area without asking permission.
Well, I don't know about that. We welcome everybody. So. But,
that is a good point. Stand-up paddling is probably the one of the most inclusive and fun sports where everybody is welcomed. And as we were talking about yesterday, if you are joining us for the 2nd day in a row, we sure hope you are. And we hope that you join us tomorrow as well for the technical racing. But stand-up paddleboarding recognizes and has fun with anybody from anywhere. If you want to get on a paddleboard, you are friends of ours. And we hope to see you at the next race. We hope to see you at the World Championships next year.
Tillman Meisner finishing up, and then there's John Sekas wrapping out your top 5 Masters. John Sekas right there. So look at John on the old MHL, I believe. Look at that. That's a beautiful board.
Looks pretty, making it look good.
Yeah, nice job, John, down there wrapping out the Masters. I believe John's well into his 60s. I could be wrong. So that's a super strong performance.
I think this is Mark Hewitt that we're seeing. And that is
Mark. Yep, Mark's your 6th place.
Yep, 6 overall.
And then you have your next female coming as well. That's Victoria Burgess. So she's going to take 4th in the women's, or 5th rather. Sorry, Fiona was 4th. This will wrap up your top 5 women. So that is Mark Hewitt. Also from the Fort Lauderdale, South Florida area. Great job on Mark. So that's going to be 6th place for the Masters.
We've got number 25 right
followed
behind.
By Troy Pulley, who's also in the Masters. So.
And this might be our.
And then our
this
junior
is our first
leader.
leader here coming through.
Gerald's going to be our junior winner. Nice job. Gerald's will be happy to hear that Edwin finished in that top group with those guys, right? We had Edwin in 5th place, I believe, to round up the top 5. Yep. So we see Mark Hewitt here. And Victoria Burgess wrapping out the top 5 of the women's. Yeah, Vic, nice work. Victoria has been a paddle athlete for a number of years. I'm stoked to have her on the Flying Fish board. So there's Mark with finishing up. Nice job, Mark. And Victoria. Nice job, Vic.
Okay, coming right behind them, we're going to see our first junior.
Yeah, Troy Pulley's finishing now, and then our juniors.
Troy, 17, 18 years old?
I believe he's 18 years old. Gerald Cornier from Puerto Rico,
right there,
Aguadilla.
That's who's coming across the line
Gerald's
right now.
finishing right now, top junior paddler.
Excellent work.
Nice job, Gerald.
He showing us what you can do in the young guns. We've got another junior on the course here, Mason.
Yeah, Mason's still out there. We're going to see when Mason comes in.
Who's going to be out here?
And finishing now is Christian Sanchez from Jacksonville area.
On his red, white, and blue.
Yeah, he's got his little Puerto Rican flag flying fish. Nice job, Christian. All right, let's see.
Well, what a great race this has been so far. We are so glad that you're joining us here. If you have been, you just saw a show. Boy, watching that female final come through, they were all 4 of them were neck and neck, just going right at it till the very finish. Seychelles, Kim Barnes, Stephanie Scheidler, Fiona Wild, your top 4 females, just making it look really good, showing you what it is. And here's your mixed, here's all your male riders, your top 10. Now here's your 11 through 20 that you're seeing. Amazingly fast times. These guys, putting in, what are we looking at, 10 minute, 9.5 minute miles, 10,
Yeah.
9.5, 10.
They're averaging, almost 6 miles an hour. Erie was well over 6 miles an hour, obviously. So that second pack probably in that 6.2 mile an hour range.
Yeah,
Impressive.
Moving fast. These are some fast times. The average recreational paddler is going to be in a 18 to 20 minute mile, give or take, and then you start moving into the 15 and the 14s and the 13s are some pretty common time ranges, and then you start getting a little faster, and you see those 12s.
Start breaking into 12s. And
12s are, you're moving pretty fast
Yeah.
over any distance when you're keeping a 12 minute per mile pace, and then you move up into these super elite legends here that are at 11 and 10 minute miles, and even on some of these races you're seeing low to mid 9s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming in on the longer distance. On the sprints, they're going even faster.
Look at these women's times, how close this race was between Seychelles, Kim, Stephanie, and Fiona. I mean, unbelievable. Here he was definitely showing his technique and his fitness level here, and doing his thing. Breaking an hour at 58:05. So I'm sure we're going to see some of the next pack of men's finish next. Or no, we're going to the women's final. This to me, Rob, like, you can't ask for a better race.
Four of them neck and neck, right next to each other.
Absolutely.
And it does make you wonder. We talked about how they're talking out there. Look at that. Kim was there. Seychelles right there, and Stephanie all right there as well. Fiona right behind. You can see all 3 of them were just kind of neck and neck. Seychelles, that's where she kind of made her break.
That last 30 meters or so, Seychelles just put down
All
a
in.
few extra strokes.
Put the hammer down.
And put the hammer down. So good on her. I'm super proud, obviously, of Kim and Stephanie for wrapping out that top 3. So I'm really excited. And then we have another female here, Catlin.
Yep.
Kate. Yeah, I think she probably just goes by Cat, right? Cat McElroy.
Cat McElroy coming across
she's
here.
Coming across the finish now. Yep. And let's go back to talking about Steve Miller really quick as we look at the times. Like, yeah, he finished 3rd, but he's not getting the cash because he signed up as a 50-plus Masters.
Hey, you know what? That's all right. We'll give him glory.
Believe
we'll
me,
give him glory today.
Steve's one of my best friends, so I'm really stoked for Steve and really stoked to see my team take the top 3. So
what an amazing race!
Yeah,
there.
I'll give him the $300. Miller's like, I'm going to hold you to that, or 400. Dang it, it's 400. I'll give it to Miller. Heck, that's awesome. So we got a few more paddlers coming across here. We got a Masters Women's coming up with Alice Batson. We got Vicky Morales here getting ready to come across. She'll be stoked to hear about Packett's 2nd place master finish.
The Batsons putting on a really great race.
They put on a great race in Hilton
Alakai.
Head. Yeah, John's recovering from neck surgery, so
yep, he's had
otherwise
a little bit of a year.
John would be here racing in the Masters for sure.
He's John, if you're listening and you have FOMO right now, we're thinking about you and hope you have a solid recovery the rest of this year. So
I have a feeling we're going to see John.
We
back
can
next
see
year.
John. John is he's a monster as well. You don't want to mess with him.
He won the Masters last year in Oklahoma, so
he's
I got second. Yeah, I got second last year in the Masters. So
John, he doesn't remember that at all.
No, he does not. No, he remembers. So. Here we go, Vicky Morales finishing now. Great job, Vicky. So wrapping up her last few meters.
Excellent racing out here. Congratulations to all the riders who have already come in and all those who are still on the course. There are a lot of individuals, and that's what's so fun about this. We've seen this major action, and although those individuals in the back maybe aren't getting the chief spotlight, they're racing their own race. Every one of these racers right now, they're doing everything they can to conquer this 6.2-mile course, to reach their personal best, to see where they stand in the standings.
You see Ben Bailey on the screen. Sorry to interrupt
There's
you.
Ben Bailey. We've got, this is a small community, and a lot of these individuals, they know each other. They travel the races together, and even though they might be, past 10th, 11th, 12th position, they're still out there fighting, and they're fighting with their friends and for bragging rights to see where they're at. We've got 66 coming across there.
Josh Davis on
nice
the
job
SICRS.
on the SIC.
Nice job. Good technique.
So for all you watching there, most of these individuals, they've been taking water, and it's drinking water while both of your hands are occupied on a paddle.
There's Ruth Ann on the screen, another female Masters paddler, I believe.
Has its own challenges. So most of them have like a camelback that's on their back there.
No, Ruth Ann's 49, so she's not in the Masters. So.
That they can drink their water out of. They're gonna grab that little nozzle, drink a little water, continue to paddle, and get that back there. Every one of our paddlers is required to wear a PDF. We have fairly specially designed PDFs. You can see they're all on their waist. In those waist packs, they're uninflated, but if they did fall in,
the PFDs, you mean?
Yes, the PFDs. Yeah. They can pull a little cord there, and that will, just like on an airplane, that inflates.
There's Ben Bailey, nice job.
They'll have some safety on them as well, and you can see they all have a leash that's either connected to their ankle or their waist pack that's connected to the board. So when they fall off, especially when there are higher winds, not really applicable today, but when there are higher winds, their board can't get away from them. And that's really important if you're out there or if you got the bug today. And we sure hope you did. Who's this coming across?
This is
right
Ruth Ann.
Ruth Ann
coming
nice
across
job.
the finish.
Great
nice
finish.
Job, Ruth Ann.
If you're out there paddling, you got the bug today, make sure you find a local group or a paddle shop that can help you at least get started and learn about proper technique. Make sure you have your safety devices on. All local waterways have their own rules, and you should know those. Last thing we want to do is see somebody getting in trouble out there.
So you can see on the screen, Rob, there's our Mason Cobra,
Yep.
our second junior, 14 years old.
Mason coming in second in the 200-meter sprints yesterday and now making his way in on the 10K.
So
what a little ripper.
What a great shot here, though. I don't see a number on the Fanatic, but it'd be interesting to see. You got to love it, though, to see young Mason there in the draft behind him. That's a great job by these guys for sure. So,
unfortunately, stand-up paddling is not just it's not the youngest of sports yet. But we have specifically made boards for our younger generation, and we really are working hard to help these younger kiddos come across. Who's this that we're seeing?
Ann Learners.
Ann Lerner, nice job, Ann. Great work out there today.
Leonard, sorry, Ann. Nice job, Ann.
But these younger paddlers, there's a lot of up-and-coming younger paddlers, and honestly, it's pretty scary when you've got a 14-year-old who's out there crushing it, and you're wondering, like, well, you only weigh 67 pounds when you're wet, and they can move fast.
Mason's making a move, it looks like. He's like, well, let's see if I can beat him. I love it. Nope, he might be this is great to see with Mason coming in right here. It's really tough for Mason if you can imagine being a 14-year-old and not having other kids out here to compete with. So if we can please get some kids out on the water.
Get your kiddos involved.
Yeah, let's give Mason some competition next year. Actually, next year he will have some competition, I believe, at the Worlds. I believe you're going to see some international juniors. There'll be some international juniors coming. So
on a worldwide scene, especially through Europe and so on and so forth, paddling is just kind of more of a common sport. Canoeing and kayaking and paddling is much more common to see out there.
And there's Mason coming through the finish as your second-place junior.
USA, unfortunately,
Yeah.
we have not caught on as much.
Yeah,
You've got 55. That's Nia Lee.
Yeah,
I believe.
Nia Lee and Jennifer here. Looks like they're battling it out.
Nia Lee, a local paddler that we see at our
Yeah.
goat boater races all the time. She won the goat boater championship. She's got her name on a title belt this year, so we're pretty excited to see her.
Yeah, and
coming
Jennifer
through.
Flanagan taking the lead
Taking
there.
the diagonal, saying
Nia's conceding, I think. Nia's like, okay, you girls, I'm
All right,
tired.
we
It's
got
it's
it.
been a long 10K. Nice
Nice
job, girls.
Jennifer.
Nice
Come
job.
across the finish line right there, and on your left you see
And
Nia Lee.
Nia
coming
Lee,
across.
nice job. You know,
Great
back
work.
to the paddling in the United States, Rob, I just feel like one of my opinions is that there's so many sports that these kids are offered in the United States between the soccer and basketball and baseball and football and tennis and golf and you name it. So, but if you're a waterman and you love the water and your kids are around the water with you, you know, let's encourage them to get into this because it's such a great sport for all ages.
I hate to say it's addicting, but it's definitely addicting.
It is addicting.
So get your
Look
kids
at there's
out
a good
there.
shot of Mason on the screen. So, yeah,
Taking
that's
a break,
awesome.
breathing,
Yeah.
getting some water. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right, we probably have about half of our paddlers that have come in. I believe we had close to
Yeah, I
just
believe we still have.
just shy of 50 racers out there today, 44 maybe, close
I
to.
was pointed out here that, you know, Jeffrey Holloway is 80 years old.
Yes.
So is Jeffrey out here? So that's awesome.
We were-
Speaking of all ages.
Yeah, we were just talking about the young guns.
So we've got 14 years old to 80 years old. So there's what I mean by a sport for all ages.
There's
That's
all
amazing.
in the same race. There's ranges. We do have age divisions in stand-up paddleboarding. Typically 18 and under is our youth division. Then you have 18 to 49, which
we
is
spoke
a
about yesterday.
very large gap there. And then the 50 plus. But as it's growing, what we're seeing is there is now a 40 to 50 plus division that
Yeah.
will be in the championship.
Yeah,
So
that's nice to see.
so we're starting to break that down.
That's
The
nice to
18 to
see.
39 is a little
Yeah.
bit of a tighter group, 40,
Yeah.
40 plus, 50 plus, and there is also room for a 60 plus senior masters.
Absolutely. I feel
group.
in the next handful of years we're going to need a 60 plus because of
Yeah.
all us guys that are in our 50s now.
Yeah.
We're not going to stop at 60. so.
Absolutely, and that's what we've seen. This is what's great about this sport is it's just although it is a complicated sport to learn at the high level, it's a very easy barrier of entry to
Tim
get started with.
Earhart on the screen. Sorry.
Number
Ben.
82, Tim Earhart coming through.
Yeah.
And then you can do this till you're 40 and 50 and 60 and 70 and clearly 80 because we
Yeah.
have somebody out here racing there. It's relatively gentle on your knees. You can pull this off and really get a great workout. And like anything, I mean, there's nothing like being able to just get out and the freedom to be on the water wherever you find an open waterway, get some sunshine, get some fresh air, and get some physical fitness in with some friends of yours.
Absolutely. It's a nice low impact sport as well. So if you're a runner or a cyclist or a triathlete and you're just looking for another way to cross train, it's low impact, jump on a board. It's a total body workout. For
Tim
sure.
Earhart was a great example of this. Tim Earhart, number 82 that you're seeing right here, he signed up this morning.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He got on here this morning and said, you know what, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah.
And I want to get a great paddle in with some amazing
Absolutely.
people.
Yeah, good on him. That's awesome to see him out here. Oh, man, what an exciting race, huh, Rob?
Excellent day. If you're with us, don't forget tomorrow the action continues at 9 a.m. Eastern or maybe even 8:58 Eastern as we saw today. So 9 a.m. Eastern here in Sarasota, Florida, we are going to be kicking off the male and female technical race. And if you've never watched a technical race, I highly encourage you to join us tomorrow. It is, I think for most of us, it's maybe one of our favorite to watch.
Oh, yes.
Because you've got a lot of boards in a very small area. They have to go around 5 buoy turns over an 800-meter course. So when those turns happen, and you have a 14-foot board that you're trying to lug around. There's a lot of rubbing is racing is kind of what we like to say in technical racing. Technically, you're not supposed to hit anybody, but let's just be honest. In technical racing, rubbing is racing.
Yeah, it happens.
And it happens, and it is just absolutely a blast to watch. It's very fast-paced. We will have most likely around 10 heats that are going to be going off every 15 minutes starting at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So, again, for Sunday, get your pancakes ready. And
man, imagine these top 4 women doing that. Well, I believe Stephanie's only did the distance, so but we're going to have some other women tomorrow in that technical. That's going to be fun to watch, Fiona, Seychelle, and Kim in the technical for tomorrow.
Yep,
so.
some of your favorites that you saw tomorrow, there's no doubt they are going to be back again in the tech race. We have 38 racers that are going to be battling it out tomorrow over multiple heats in multiple divisions. And a little bit different about the technical race, there will be only 6 to 8 riders per heat going across. There's number 60 crossing the finish line there.
Yeah, number 60 is Whitney Young. Nice job, Whitney. This is that's somebody testing a board.
Doing a little demo there.
Demoing a board here. So.
All right, you can see some numbers. If one of those are your best friend or fan favorite or significant other, you can kind of see where they stacked up today. Again, pretty impressive times. Seeing a sub 1 hour showing by Erie Tenorio and the females right there as well. And
look at Jake Borwood's time. They just had it on the screen a second ago, but it was a 1 hour and 28 seconds.
Right on the dot.
So, you know, we almost had multiple guys break that hour mark.
Yeah, they were all right there. These are some very fast times for what most likely was really close to exactly a 10K.
Wow.
Coming up next, if you're hanging out with us a little later today, we have the 5K recreational race. And in stand-up paddleboarding, as you're getting into it, most likely the 2 most common race distances that we tend to see are a 5K and a 10K. Those are for most of our grassroots racing, that 5K, just like you would go out and jog, walk, or run your first 5K at a local race. 5Ks are really, really a great way to get your feet wet in the competitive area to see where they're at. All right, we got some more paddlers continuing.
Yeah, looks like we got 5 left on the course. So.
All right, we've got some information coming your way.
We're here with Tricia Michelle. She's one of the participants this weekend in Sarasota at the SUP Cup. That's the Stand Up Paddleboard International Series. Tricia, how's it going?
Great. It's going great.
Yeah, it's exciting. It seems like it's going great.
Yeah, I just finished up with a SUP clinic and got my registration, and I'm in.
And are you from here in Florida?
I'm from Orlando.
Oh, that's good. That's great. So you decided not to wear the ears today?
Oh, no, I don't do Disney.
How long have you been paddleboarding?
About 2.5 years.
Okay, and how long have you been competitive?
I'd say maybe a year and 3-4 months.
And are you going to participate in all of the different events, the 200 and then the long one as well?
Yes, I registered for all 3.
Okay. And how long have you been paddleboarding now, and why do you do it so often?
I just love it. It's freeing. I don't know. I didn't used to be competitive, and once I got into paddleboarding, it just kind of changed everything for me.
Oh, that's great. And so where do you paddleboard when you're in Orlando? It seems like it's sort of landlocked.
We have a lot of springs around, some of the lakes. I'll go out to Cocoa Beach and paddle out there. And I also do a lot of SUP surfing too.
Oh, so do you paddle in the ocean?
Yes.
Is that dangerous?
I don't think it's that dangerous, although I'm doing the crossing, so I'll be paddling 80 miles next year from Bimini to Florida. That might be dangerous.
80 miles from Bimini to where?
Lake Worth, Florida.
That's amazing. That is fantastic. And what do you do for a living?
I'm a creative director for a technology company.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for taking some time out. Best of luck this weekend. What do you think your chances are at winning the $10,000?
Probably pretty low. I'm still amateur.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, of all the people we've talked to, you by far have the most beautiful smile.
Oh, thank you.
All right, good luck out there.
Thanks.
All right, there you go. That's what it's all about, paddling everywhere.
Yeah, that was a great interview there, and it sounds like she's signed up for the Crossing for Cystic Fibrosis, which she was speaking about, the paddle from Bimini to Florida, which has become a huge event in paddling. It's personally brought a lot of paddlers to the sport. We see it in our area in South Florida because it is based in South Florida, and Travis and his crew there at Piper's Angels Foundation has done a great job of bringing together everyone of all levels to paddle and challenge that 80-mile paddle. So it's also brought a lot of racers into actual, shorter distance racing. So it's been great for our sport. It's nice to see that she was signed up for that. So
You see number 6 here, Tricia Michelle, coming across, making her way 100 meters from the finish line here, having a great 10K race.
yeah, she's doing good there. Nice
Coming in here.
technique, using her legs still. So
Yeah, could you imagine doing 80 miles on a stand-up paddleboard? I mean, how incredible is that? If you're one of those ultra individuals that just loves things that most of us would be considered subhuman or crazy, then that would be one to put on your bucket list.
yeah, well, I tell you, the top 2 women, Seychelle and Kim Barnes, have both done it. Kim's done it multiple times, I believe. Maybe 4 times Kim's done it. So Seychelle did it last year. Steve Miller's done it. Jake Portwood has done it. So there's been a number of paddlers that have done it. So it's been great, honestly, for the sport, like I mentioned earlier. So here she is coming across the finish.
And what's really cool about that, not only are you raising a ton of money for cystic fibrosis, which is phenomenal, but it's just, you can do it as a team. You can do it as a team sport, and what a thing to put on your bucket list of items. Okay, as you're seeing here, we just are seeing the very beginning of the 5K rec race. These are all the individuals that are just loving stand-up paddleboarding and wanted to go for a little 5K cruise today. They're going to do 1 lap, just like we saw our individuals on the 2nd lap of the 10K. And they are all getting started here. You can see they're out here having fun. I want to say thank you to John. He was a huge help here today. He's going to go cheer on and thank all his athletes. And we will see him back here again. And while we're looking at the start of this 5K, I want to welcome into the commentary booth to join me for this 5K rec race is Mr. Mike Wong, coming all the way from Alameda, California, who runs a paddleboard shop out there. Mike, welcome to the booth here today.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Really glad to join you to talk about this rec race, because this is the beginning of what we have as paddlers going into racing. These folks, a lot of them are first-time racers. A lot of them have only paddled for maybe a few months, and you can see that they're doing extremely well. I have a lot of personal stories that I collected from each of the paddlers, and I will share with you with their stories shortly.
So right now you've got in virtual first place, maybe number 49. This is
number 49. Yes.
Let's see. Do you have your?
I do. Yes. So number 49. His name is Thomas Larkin. He's been paddling since 2009, and he was a kayaker converted into stand-up paddleboarding. He said he was drinking in front of TV, and he saw all these Californians with narrow boards, and he does canoe as well, and so he thought he must get on a board, and he's been paddling ever since. He's doing really well. He's got a crazy costume on. So
these individuals, Halloween is coming up here, so
yeah.
I think they had they have a Halloween costume contest for those of them who dressed up while paddling. If back at the finish line as well. Again, I got to give a shout out to my wife, number 56, who is making her way the last 20 yards of the 10K finish. She's on her Infinity Blackfish. Megan Sanoa, the GOAT boater, coming across the line, finishing her 10K.
Finishing strong.
Finishing strong. You can't see her, but we are cheering her on. She is the owner of the Goat Boater, and I am so proud of her for getting out here and making a 10K look good for her. Okay, these are in front of you. You still see your 5K individuals. Let's talk about 42 here. How about
Yeah,
we've
so
got Elizabeth.
number 42, she's only, can you believe it, 12 years old.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so Elizabeth has been attending a summer camp for stand-up paddleboarding for 2 weeks, and this is her 4th time paddling outside of the camp. It's her first race, and her father, Tiger Volrath, is with her as well, and he came from slalom background. And this is what's interesting about stand-up paddleboarding is that we come from a lot of different kind of athletic background, especially paddling in terms of canoeing, kayaking, slalom, surfing. It's a conglomerate of all the different paddle and water sports, and so we just see a lot of talents from different areas. And so it's really exciting to see young folks coming into this race. We really wish them luck.
All right, we've got on view here. There's number 68. This is one of our 10K paddlers finishing up here. This is
Yulia Piatek.
Yulia Piatek, great job finishing your 10K today. Right behind her, which we're not going to see right now, is number 35. That's Satish coming all the way from India on his Infinity Blackfish, finishing his 10K. Congratulations, Satish.
Congratulations.
Great race out there. Nice finish
He's
as well.
he did a crossing from Bangladesh to India.
He is a world record holder
Yes.
in stand-up paddleboarding for being the first to ever make that crossing
That's right.
solo on a stand-up paddleboard. So congratulations, world record holder. All right. We talked about Thomas and Julianne Veal is up there in the front of this 5K course here. Do we know anything about Julianne?
Yes. Julian Veal, yeah, so she is from New Smyrna Beach, and she's part of the Paddle Sports League, and she's been paddling for 3 years. She started coming to paddling from lifting and yoga, but once she got on a board, she couldn't say no.
I know that feeling.
Yes.
Many of us out here
Yeah.
have very much enjoyed doing that as well. We also had Michaela Wood, number 40. She's in that front pack.
Yes.
Up there
so
as well.
Michaela Wood and number 40 and number 44, Elizabeth James, I like to give them the shout out because they're both new moms.
And they're neck and neck too.
Yes,
They're right
and
next to each other paddling as
Yeah.
friends here.
Michaela comes from Venice Rowing, and Elizabeth comes from Paris Rowing, and they're both friends. And we want to give them a shout out because they're creating a nonprofit called Moms Incredible. And they want to find balance in motherhood between work, family, and athletics. And they are both training for the 80-mile race.
That's incredible. Again, we were talking about the Crossing for the Cure, the cystic fibrosis race that goes from Bimini back to the tip of Florida there,
Yeah.
being an incredible way to raise money and have a blast paddling with a team or paddling solo. Most people paddle with a team across 80 miles of open ocean. I don't know if I have the stomach for that. What do you think, Mike? Are you excited
I
about
think
sharks?
I'm in California, so I see sharks all the time. So, and I'm actually excited about the 80 miles because I circumnavigated San Francisco Bay 220 miles in 20 days in the winter.
Apparently,
So,
Mike is not afraid of getting the mileage in. Wow, 220 miles. How was that? Tell us about that excursion there.
yes, it was in the winter, so I utilized the current and wind and storms to make it a little
he
bit
makes
faster.
it sound like it was easy. You still had to paddle.
But what was great was that I had an inflatable board, and I was able to deflate every time I stopped, and I called an Uber and went to my friends and slept for the night. And sometimes I would camp along urban areas, and they weren't always so friendly. But I would highly encourage you to do your own little exploration, whether it be a mile or 2 miles or 80 miles or hundreds of miles. You know, you can set your heart on anything to accomplish in stand-up paddleboarding, and there's so many different aspects of it. We're looking at the screen, a beautiful
miles.
area.
Nice job. Nice job, Mike. All right, these are some of our paddlers making their way around the backside of the course here. Again, they're going to do one full lap. 5K is 3.1 miles for us non-metric using individuals. So they're going to have a lot of fun just having a paddle. This is probably going to be, give or take, about an hour paddle for most of these individuals. You know, making their way, having a fun time. They're going to drink some water along the way. And quite honestly, you know, what could be better than enjoying some sunny Florida weather? What better way to do it than to be on some water and getting some fresh air?
I'm certainly
enjoying some palm
excited to
trees.
race in 85-degree water.
All right, let's see Mike Wong in the flesh here and listen to what he has to say.
All right, here at Nathan Benderson Park in Sarasota, Florida, we're with Mike Wong, who makes paddleboards. He has a paddleboard shop. And are you going to be participating in the race this weekend?
Yes, I'll be competing on Sunday in the technical.
Okay, explain to us if you can. I know there's a 200-meter, there's a technical, and there's like a 10-kilometer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there are 3 different events, but the technical is the most exciting to watch because it's all by the water, and there's a lot of buoys where we have to get around and make turns. And so there's going to be a lot of people stuffed together during those turns, and that's where excitement happens.
All right, so are they all on individual time, or are they trying to compete to get around the course?
Everyone's starting at the same time, but you'll see a bunch of people bunched at the turns at the same time.
All right, does anybody fall off at this point?
Absolutely. There's people falling off, there's people jostling positions, and there are people trying to get ahead, falling in the water. All kinds of stuff could happen.
And let's talk a little bit about the water balloon controversy, right? Where they throw water balloons at you while you're trying to paddle, or was that just me last year?
I think that was just you.
It was just me, and they asked me to leave. They called me the water balloon guy, and then threw me in a ban. Tell us about your company. You have a shop there in Alameda, California.
Right. We have a retail full-service shop. We have a school for kids, and we have for adults. So classes, rentals, lessons, everything. It's called Mike's Paddle. And right next door, we have another exciting sport coming up called the electric foil. So these are foil boards that have batteries inside, and then there's also going to be races with e-foils soon.
That's exciting. And how does everybody find you if they're in Alameda or if they want to order something online to be shipped here? How do they find your shop?
All they have to do is type in and say mikespaddle.com.
mikespaddle.com. Mike Wong here at Nathan Benderson competing, participating, and we want you to come down and cheer for Mike and all the other participants. Mike, thanks for taking some time.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, now you've seen him. That's the Mike Wong legend himself in the booth with me today, helping me with this 5K that we can announce all these winners as they start making their way around the course halfway through. Again, recreational race is just some of the most fun things to do, and they're the most common. They're the most common. I would say in our Goat Boater race series, we put on 6 races every single year, and our 5K is usually the most attended races because not only can we as experienced stand-up paddleboard athletes go out and just crush 3 miles and have a blast racing with our friends, you also can be anybody coming off your couch and getting your first stand-up paddleboard 5K in, which makes it such a great distance format for so many.
As the day gets by, it looks like the wind is coming up a little bit, and this is going to present some challenge for our rec paddlers. And you know what's interesting is that they get to participate in a World Cup. This is what I'm totally astounded about, you know. So it's a growing sport, it's a small sport, and you get to participate in a World Cup where world-renowned athletes are competing side to side with somebody who has just started paddling a few months ago. And so for all of you guys listening out there or watching the show out there, next year we're going to have the World Championship here, and you can come here and you can see what this scene is all about.
It's not often you get. Okay, so one of our athletes that I think is absolutely worth noting is Jeff Holloway, who is 80 years old, who is on the course today. As we were talking about, you know, we have a 14-year-old all the way up to an 80-year-old. It doesn't matter what your age is, you're there, and I think we might get to hear a little piece from Jeff coming up here in a second.
We're here with Jeff Holloway at the Nathan Benderson Park in Sarasota. We are just south of University Boulevard, right next door to 75. And Jeff Holloway, you are participating in probably the most arduous event of this weekend. Tell us about the 10K.
Well, the 10K, 6.2 miles, long distance race, just pretty much twice around the lake here.
And how often do you have to train? Are you training every day for a race of that size? And do you train strictly in the bathtub, or do you actually get out there on the water?
No, I'm strictly a recreational paddleboarder, but I've been out here 3-4 times this last month just to make sure I can finish.
And how do you feel about your chances as far as finishing and possibly placing in the race?
Very slim in that the...
Well, you are slim, sir. You look great. You look fantastic. Is that the paddleboard?
Probably. Good core muscles, but the senior division is 50 and above.
Okay. And you're 52?
Monday I'm going to be 81.
Wow, that's fantastic. Round of applause for Jeff, everybody. Come on. 81 years old and competing in the 10K. All right, so 10K, as you said, is about 6+ miles. How long will it take you to finish that race?
My goal is under 2 hours.
Okay, well, we wish you all the best. And what would you say to somebody who's out there that's at the same age, they're interested in possibly doing some paddleboarding? What would you say to somebody your age?
I would say absolutely take advantage of it. It's a great sport. It obviously helps with your balance, your core, your outside. It's the complete package, and it's inexpensive.
So come on out and cheer Jeff on. We're here all weekend long at Nathan Benderson Park here in Sarasota, and this is the SUP Cup.
All right, Jeff Holloway is on the course. We can see him from the booth right here, and as he gets a little closer, we'll get some footage. He is probably he's got about a mile left, give or take, on his 10K course. His goal, as he was saying there, was to keep it right around 2 hours, and he is at 1 hour and 48 minutes. So Jeff Holloway, we see you out there, and all of you on the shoreline as Jeff makes his way here in the next 10 minutes. We hope you cheer him on because when we're all 80, I hope we're getting some cheers from the beach as well. So congratulations to Jeff Holloway for doing something amazing. And again, we're gonna check in on Jeff as we go. You can see some of our 5K paddlers now in the camera here, having fun. Tiki hats on, enjoying some shade by their head, and some individuals just sitting and paddling. Doesn't get any more relaxing than that. Just sitting on their paddle and making their way.
That's what I love about stand-up paddleboarding versus kayaking and canoeing, is that you can do whatever you want on the board. You can sit, you can kneel, you can lie down and take a nap.
We just don't recommend it if there's a lot of boats around. Please don't lay down when there's boats around. But other than that, man, there's an entire discipline of this sport, stand-up paddleboard yoga, that happens all over the place where you can try your hand at making your way with some yoga poses on paddle boards as a group. That's a great way to get some amazing fitness and exercise as well. So maybe as you go, you'll find a stand-up paddleboard yoga.
Yeah, I see Elizabeth Graith Valrith, the 12-year-old. She's on her knees now, and that's actually a very effective method of paddling upwind, and you have less wind to deal with you are a much smaller target for the wind. So we often teach our kids to do that. And if they were standing up, they may not be able to paddle against the wind, but on their knees, they're doing just fine.
All right, now we have Jeff on our screen that we were just talking about. That's Jeff Holloway right there, front and center, making his way towards the finish line. 80 years old and crushing it out there in a 10K race. Great job, Jeff. Like Mike was saying just a little while ago, Jeff is he's going straight into the wind. So this is the hardest part. And when you are on a stand-up paddleboard and you have wind coming at your face, anytime it starts to get about 7, 8, 9 miles an hour, you really start to notice that wind. And that wind slows you down because your body acts as a human sail. And that's what Jeff is dealing with right now. It doesn't look like much. You can see on the water there's a little bit of a wind chop. But the wind, official wind, is at 9 miles an hour coming out of the northwest right now. So he's straight into it. And our paddlers who are doing the 5K, they, as Mike was saying, they're going to have to contend with this. They're on the backside right now. Our 5K paddlers have made it about a third of the way around the course. And luckily, they're going to catch a little bit of the downwind side, and hopefully that helps move them a little bit quicker on that backside. But once they make that turn, just like old Jeffy right now, you're going to have to come straight into the wind, and that's going to slow their mile pace down just a smidge.
Yeah, this is the toughest part of the race in that you get downwind first and then upwind second. You know, just about when you get tired, you hit the wind, and you must muster all your strength to get to the finish line. I see Jeff, still paddling quite good. So there are several techniques that you can paddle against the wind. A lot of it is bending your knees more, digging deeper, and keeping your head straight. And it's a skill that you have to learn over time. But
Mike, who else is on our list out in that 5K today? Is there who else can we talk about that we know is doing something great?
Yeah.
All these individuals, sometimes they're either their first race or an earlier on race.
Yeah, we have a lot of folks who are doing it really for the first time. Brett Tanner, that's his 4th or 5th time actually paddling. We have Thomas Larkin, who is paddling a lot, and he had his honeymoon in Canoe about 35 years ago. We have Linda Weber. She started in 2015, and her goal is to eventually learn how to subsurf. Speaking of which, it's a very sort of a sub-discipline of stand-up paddleboarding that is my passion. And so we will talk about that later. But in a lot of the world championships, you'll see racing as one aspect, but surfing is certainly another exciting aspect of SUP.
Mike, tell us about SUP surfing. So we obviously, most of us are familiar with what surfing is. We've been out there, done that, and everybody who's been hanging out with us today, they clearly have a good idea now of what stand-up paddleboarding is. What's SUP surfing? Tell us what that looks like.
Yeah, so SUP surfing is a sub-discipline of stand-up paddleboarding, and it is just how you would think about it. Instead of paddling on your belly to get into the wave, we are standing up all the time. Now, we do fall a lot, but once we get on the wave, we surf just like what you would think as a surfers. And the only difference is that we have a paddle, and the boards is a little bit bigger because that provides stability. And stand-up paddleboard surfing is a real growing sport. It's slow, but it's very advantageous because it provides a lot more propulsion than your arms paddling on a surfboard. So typically on a typical 2-hour surf session, I will catch 50 waves versus someone on a surfboard might only catch 4. So it's a good thing that I'm catching a lot of waves. It's a bad thing is that they're very jealous.
So you're saying it's not a terrible way if you want to go catch some waves.
That's correct. Yes. It's a really wonderful sport. I would invite you all to try it out, but certainly take a lesson first because safety is number one. Our suppers get some bad rep because we think we can do it and we try it, but the stand-up paddleboards are much heavier than surfboards, so the potential of your board hitting another surfer at eye level is much higher. And so I would really highly recommend that you take a lesson with a certified SUP instructor for surfing, if not just required. So I typically will take only people that have good skills, and we teach them about safety on the ocean.
So you're saying don't go buy a board off Amazon and go to Pipeline.
That's correct. Thank you, Rob. That's a great idea.
All right. So many cool disciplines in stand-up paddling. Obviously, you're seeing all three of the major disciplines in stand-up paddleboarding this weekend. 200-meter sprint being one of the most fun as far as sprint racing and all-out action. The 10K long-distance racing, which is most common, for glory and in our sport as well. And then the tech races, which are by far probably the most fun and the most action to watch that you're going to see tomorrow. Again, tuning in at 9 a.m. Eastern time is when the tech races are going to happen with the pro men and women, or the open men and women championships coming up here for the ICF 2023 SUP World Cup. If we can, what I would love to do is do just a quick little personal piece on somebody that I happen to think is pretty cool in my book. Her name happens to be Megan Sanoa, and she not only is my wife, but she is the owner of the Goat Boater in TUK, South Carolina, and just finished her 10K today. It looks like she just had a race, and she's still breathing a little bit heavy, but she's in the booth with us right now. Megan, welcome to the booth. I love you, and why don't you tell us a little bit about your race today?
Hello, everybody. It's hot out there. Not quite used to this humidity, and paddling and humidity definitely slows you down a little bit if you're not used to it. I would say I'm happy with my race, especially considering I'm out here just enjoying the paddle. It's a rec race for me. It's not often that you get to come out and paddle against some Olympic caliber athletes and be a part of the ICF. It's a very rare opportunity that is open to everyone, and I'm just grateful to be here and have that opportunity. I'm a little bit tired. Definitely have some lactic acid built up here. I think I carried about a 15-minute pace out there, which is a little slower than I'd like, but hey, I finished, so we're good.
Well, we're proud of you, and congratulations on a nice finish. How would you say the course was out there? Tell us, you have firsthand experience. You went 2 laps for 10K. What was the course like? Obviously, there's pretty high humidity out there. It's 84 degrees plus and sunshine, so that makes it pretty toasty. What was the course like today?
There's some wind out there. Wasn't quite expecting that wind to play a big role in my race. However, it kind of snuck up on me. Some of that crosswind made it slightly difficult. That headwind came in a little strong for me. Yet still some pretty calm water for the most part. Definitely not like what it was on Thursday. We had, 20 mile per hour, 30 mile per hour winds out here. So definitely pretty calm for the most part, but challenging.
How do you feel these 5K racers are going to feel when they come around the bend? The wind's picked up just a little bit more.
I guess we'll find out. They might be breathing a little hard. I guess that depends on if they took their race pretty fast or they tried to take it nice and casual. Hopefully they all enjoyed it out there, but definitely have some challenging conditions for them.
And definitely this is your time to put a little plug in. You're the owner of the Goat Boater. Tell everybody a little bit about what the Goat Boater is and what you do and why you do it.
Yeah, so the Goat Boater, we're a stand-up paddleboard shop on Lake Wiley, South Carolina. We're about 10 minutes outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, right on the line there. We do everything paddleboarding. We do paddleboard sales, rentals, kids camps, adult and youth paddle leagues. We have a race series. We put on 6 races a year over on Lake Wiley, South Carolina. Next year we'll be doing 5. We hope that some of you will join us next year, whether you're a beginner paddler or an advanced paddler. We'd love to have you out there. I've been doing that for 8 years now.
That's incredible. So if you need a stand-up paddleboard or you're looking for some great places to paddle around Charlotte, North Carolina, make sure you check out thegoatboater.com online so you can learn how to paddle and find a great tribe of paddlers if you're local, or anywhere around the world. If you need some gear from Starboard, Black Project, Infinity, Megan is the one to get you set up. Megan, thank you so much for being on the horn with us in the booth today, and congratulations on an amazing 10K race.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, in the background, I am hearing some cheering, and you know why, because you are watching him right in front of you. The man, the legend, Mr. Jeffrey Holloway, coming through on the final stretch of his 10K race. He is 100 yards from the final. He is 80 years old and making us look bad. Nice job, Jeff, on getting in there. Everybody out there, thank you for cheering him on. We want to be cheered on as well. Jeff is making his way. He is only less than 50 yards from his finish today. Let's see how that goes. We're gonna. I hope to be alive when I'm 80 years old. That's my goal. I was thinking 113, and now you know what? 80 would be wonderful. And if I could be out there paddling, period, that'd be incredible. Let alone being at an ICF World SUP Cup Championship and getting a 10K in with some of the best paddlers internationally in the world. There's Jeff, number 20, coming across the finish line here in 1 second.
Please give it a big applause for him for finishing a very difficult race.
The legend, Jeff Holloway, number 20. Woo, yeah, look at
Jeff,
him.
look at him celebrating.
Yes, congratulations, Jeff. You are our new hero, and we applaud you for being great. Thank you for being here and showing us what we hope to strive for.
He's looking at his heart rate. It's probably about 60.
2:02 and 44 seconds. Jeff, you were right at that 2-hour mark, and how incredible. Nice job. 2 hours and 2 minutes, 10K.
By the way, Jeff is paddling one of my favorite boards. It's a Hobie Elite Tour board that came out quite a few years ago. It's one of the best boards made. I still have it. It's 10 years old, I think.
Sometimes you just don't mess with a great board.
That's
and
right.
You hang on to it as long as you can.
Yeah.
All right. Nice job, Jeffrey. Okay, well, back to our 5K racers. They are, as we're trying to see here, they're making their way maybe around the halfway mark. And they're making their way, having a great time, having some fun, enjoying the sunny Florida days that they have in front of them. A big shout out again to all the sponsors who made this event happen. Nathan Benderson Park, clearly just giving us the most incredible venue for us to enjoy and get some sunshine, obviously some heat and humidity, as Megan was just talking about it. Visit Sarasota, Benderson Development, Shoemaker, Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, Sarasota, Bradenton International Airport, Sarasota County, Manatee County, the mall at University Town Center, ABC 7, My Sun Coast, and Sarasota Memorial Urgent Care Centers. We thank you, sponsors. You do not get enough recognition, and yet if it wasn't for you, we would not be able to have such a glorious weekend that we're all enjoying right now. So thank you, sponsors, for being there, and everybody else who has made this possible. Thank you for the volunteers who are out here giving their time and energy to make sure these racers can have a successful event. to make sure the timing is perfect, that things go off as advertised, and to make this event fun and wholesome. All the athletes right now from the 10K, they're all hanging out together, getting some camaraderie in, having some fun. There's a food and beer tent that's out there today that they're going to be able to celebrate together before they start getting some awards that will happen as soon as this 5K finishes up here. So lots of money going out. As we said, there is $10,000 on the line this weekend. Not exactly a small chunk of change. The race today is paying out $3,400. First place male and female riders taking home $800, $500, and $400 for first, second, and third place. You can see some of our 5K athletes on the screen right there. They are making their way on the back stretch of this 5K route, making their way, making it look good. They are now starting. They've turned into the wind. They are now paddling upwind and trying to fight that. Like Mike was saying, there are strategies to try to reduce the wind that's hitting your body. You can go to your knees and paddle. You can even lay down, put your paddle under you and prone paddle, just like you're surf paddling. Unfortunately, though, for our elite racers, all those things are illegal. When you are stand-up paddleboarding on an elite level, if you fall in, which happens, paddlers are not allowed to take more than 5 strokes on their knees or any other version without advancing before they have to get back to their feet and start paddling again. Now in the 5K ruck race, anything goes. If they want to sit, as we saw earlier, or take a beverage on their boat with them, they probably can pull it off, and they are, again, doing everything they can to have a very successful, fun, and safe 5K coming around the bend.
I would say this is a pretty tough race for somebody who's just paddled 4 or 5 times against the wind like this.
Yeah, they're definitely going to struggle a little bit on this backside. The wind looks like it's shifting just a smidge, even more from the north, so it's kind of coming right at them, and again, they're going to have some fun with it. When we start getting to 10 miles an hour or more, that's when we start to get concerned with our paddlers maybe not successfully being able to complete their mission or to be able to paddle upwind. But we will see what happens. I think our paddlers are going to very successfully make it in today. We have faith that they are going to have a great race. Many of them even in their costumes.
They certainly have already made halfway.
Absolutely.
And so they're about 2/3 way through, and there's, this is probably the toughest part of the race. They're at about 1,000-meter mark from the leaders, and as you can see, because they have smaller boards, they tend to zigzag a little bit more than the 14-foot board race boards that we use in the open race or what the pros use. And the shorter the board, easier to turn, however, harder to stay straight, especially in wind.
Traditionally, there are 3 categories in stand-up paddleboard racing. For those of you newer to the sport and maybe watching your friends or family right now doing their race, if you are watching online or re-watching this with somebody, make sure you throw a little comment out and tell us who you're cheering for and where you're watching and so on and so forth, so we know what's going on there, and you can cheer them on as well. They'll feel good about that. But traditionally, there are 3 lengths of paddleboards that are in their own categories. The elite pro or open divisions are always a 14-foot paddleboard. The next length is a little bit shorter at 12 foot 6 inches, and there's some interesting history that goes behind how that happened for another day. But 12 foot 6 is a lot of times its own division. Lately, that's almost been getting lumped into the 14-foot division. And then there's usually 12.6 or under, or more or less 11 feet or under as the surf category. And that's what most of our paddlers in this 5K race are on today. They're on 10, 11, 12-foot boards. Some of those are inflatable boards. Others are hard boards. Those are the 2 types of boards that regularly they're on. And like Mike was saying, every board has its pros and cons. Today, right now, these individuals are going to be doing a little more zigzagging on a 10 or 11-foot board because they just don't track as well, and they don't glide as fast, but they're a lot easier to manage. So they're on the appropriate board, and we think that's really important as individuals that teach people with the goat boater. We regularly are making sure that individuals are starting on the right boards. It makes no sense to put yourself on a 14-foot race board when you're going to be falling left and right and you can't stand on it. You're not going to have any fun. So starting on these rec boards are where we all pretty much started, and then you make your way to whatever your desired level of excitement is. Mike, what would you say? What's the most common boards out there? Are people buying shorter boards or longer boards nowadays?
I think it really depends on the beginners. So we teach about 1,000 beginners per year, and I would say 80% of them we try to convince them to take a 12-foot 6 board instead of a 10-foot board. One is that 12.6 is a little bit faster, and two, generally they're made to handle wind and current and waves a little bit better, and they're just as stable and they have more volume to take some, maybe a little cooler, maybe, you know, take a dog with you than a 10-foot board. Especially us being on the bay, we certainly need to make a little more speed on the board so it's a little bit faster. So those of you who are considering buying a board, I would recommend that you buy a longer board. And if you couldn't fit it anywhere, I would just recommend you buy an inflatable board. There's all different lengths for inflatable boards. In fact, in World Cup and World Championships, they allow inflatable race boards as well. And those have been improving quite significantly in the last few years with very good construction. And we see pro athletes traveling with inflatable boards and making really good progress with them.
As a matter of fact, in November in Thailand, in Pattaya, Thailand, there is a World Championship inflatable division that not only a lot of the pro riders are going to be riding in the hardboard divisions, but they're coming out and, hey, they want a World Championship, and you can get that on an inflatable as well. And like Mike was saying, a lot of the top companies in the world, Starboard, one that I know very well, has really been pioneering the race shapes from their hardboards and converting those into inflatables that are surprisingly, for most, incredibly fast at this point. We would never discourage anybody from getting any board out there. A lot of our paddlers come to us and they've purchased a board off of Amazon or something where they got something easy. But we do always encourage our paddlers, once they get started, we usually recommend when you buy cheap, you buy twice. Unfortunately, we have found ways to make things cheaper, lighter, and less quality more often in this world. And sometimes those inflatable boards, they pop, they blow up. And if you can get more than 2 years out of them, you're doing pretty good, if not 1 year. So when you are in the market for a paddleboard, make sure you go talk to some local paddleboarders or talk to that local paddleboard shop that they can guide you. It would be well worth getting a board that is going to fit you appropriately, give you a little bit more quality, and maybe last you for years to come, as opposed to getting discouraged on something that isn't going to give you what you need to get.
I certainly agree with that, and online reviews can only give you so much. And in addition, most local shops will allow you to demo the board so that you actually experience the board yourself rather than just reading a review from someone else who may not be your own weight, your own experience level. And, you know, so making human connections is what we want in stand-up paddleboarding, and go visit your local shops.
Absolutely. Okay, on your screen here, you are seeing your first place 5K recreational paddler coming through here, making their way towards the finish. They are 43 minutes in. They're 43 minutes and 9 seconds into their 5K race. Coming up here soon. We're going to try to see if we can get a bib number so we can give them their appropriate credit for this first place 5K individual coming up here
If
real
I'm
soon.
not mistaken, I think that looks like Thomas Larkin.
I think that's number 49, Thomas Larkin.
Yeah.
If it is, still looking strong. Going into the wind. He's got his Halloween costume on. Does he have a mask on?
He does. He does. He must be sweating bullets under that mask.
I cannot envision that is cool. Definitely. Is he a werewolf, I think?
I think he is.
Excellent. Way to go, Thomas Larkin.
Yeah, give it up for Thomas Larkin.
Not only is this our first place 5K paddler, it's our first werewolf that will be crossing the finish line here today.
Yeah, he's paddling a 10-year-old bark board, and I think it's only 11 foot, and that's pretty good speed for making 3 miles in almost 50 minutes, I would say.
Pretty good. He's got his Black
Yeah.
Project paddle there, number 49, Mr. Thomas, making his way. And he's going to be not only in the running for first place, but he's also going to be in the running for the Halloween costume contest that will be coming up after the race. You
I'm
can
pretty
see-
sure he's going to scare the bejesus out of me at the finish line.
Yeah, it's a kind of a scary mask there. And you can see right behind him as well are what looks like maybe second place paddler.
Yeah.
Also dressed up in their Halloween costume there. Way to go. Way to, bring out some Halloween spirit here today at the ICF 2023 World Cup here in Sarasota, Florida. Yeah, there he is, Mr. 49, the werewolf himself. He is coming through the starting buoy. We believe he's going to the finish line, or maybe that is the finish. We will find out here soon.
Yeah. He's
Yep.
going through the last sprint. The werewolf has woken up.
200 meters of werewolf paddling coming
Yes.
up here.
Too bad he's on the water and there's no one to infect.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe we need to stay up here. Hey, we're on the 4th floor. We're pretty safe. I think we're going to be looking good. I don't have hopes for the rest of you down there. Good luck. Mike, what'd you think about the 10K today?
That was really amazing. I think that it shows what a great venue this is. I've never been in a tower where I could see the entire race from beginning to end for a long-distance race. Most of the time in a long-distance race, we're wondering, well, where are they? What are they doing? In this venue, we can see everything.
That's a great point. For those of you, again, new to the sport, anytime you send people 6 miles away, makes it incredibly difficult not only to know what's happening, but to try to film or catch that action. And I give credit where credit is due. Our AV, audio and visual group here today did a phenomenal job capturing all the action from start to finish, even when those paddlers a mile away. So great job there. Huge shout out to Red House Streaming. They were the ones behind the magic today, making all that AV work look easy. We had multiple cameras out here today in multiple different stations, including drone work, to bring you all this world-class action front and center, making it look good. Here's number 81. Alicia Norton is number 2 coming. Alicia making her way towards the last 200 meters. She's on her purple flying fish board. That's a pretty cool color scheme going on there.
Werewolf Man is just about 20 feet from the finish line. He's paddling hard.
There he is.
Yes.
Thomas Larkin, your first place 5K finisher, just finishing. Great job, Thomas, out there. We applaud you. The werewolf himself has made his way across the finish line. 48 minutes and some change for Mr. Thomas Larkin there. Great job. Nice 5K time. especially with
15 minutes per mile. That's quite good for a 11-foot board.
Absolutely. And as you're seeing, this is number 2. This is really your first place female, if we were doing categories here. Miss Alicia Norton.
I love the pink tassels.
She definitely has her lays. She is Mardi Gras themed, it seems like, ready to come across the finish line. She is less than 50 meters from the finish coming in there. We also have a couple individuals that are not too far behind. Let's see, we've got number 40. Number 40
is Michaela Wood.
Michaela Wood
She hails from Venice Rowing, and she's one of the paddle moms. Mom's incredible, finding balance in motherhood. It certainly is difficult to fit in work, paddling, and having kids.
There we go. There we go. 81, Miss Alicia Norton finishing her paddle. Great job, Alicia, out there. Making it look great. Congratulations on finishing your 5K. 49 minutes and 27 seconds.
And we wish the best luck for Michaela and Elizabeth for the 80-mile crossing. This is only the beginning of the journey for them.
There we go. Michaela Wood making her finish. Second place female, third place overall. Coming in number 40 there. 49 minutes and 53 seconds. Great job. Great job, Michaela. Okay, number 32, Julianne Veal, or Julie, as I think we hear some individuals yelling out there, just in case we don't know that. So Julianne coming across right here, number 32, about to finish her 5K.
Julianne is paddling a SIC Sonic, which is a plastic board, actually. It's quite indestructible. That's what we use at our shop for most of our trainings.
All right.
And it was used for one class racing for a while, where everybody rides the same board.
All right, third place female, Miss Julianne Veal. Congratulations, 50 minutes, 33 seconds, fourth place overall. Great job.
And coming up, we have number 44, Elizabeth James. That's Michaela's paddling partner for the 80-mile crossing. Another shout out to Mom's Incredible, finding balance in motherhood. We wish you the best in your paddling career. And she's coming up in her last 200-meter upstream sprinting. We want to cheer for her. Yes. It looks like she's got a mermaid costume on. And speaking of inflatable race boards, I believe she is on a SIC RS inflatable.
All right, this is what it's all about. You know, sometimes we don't get to see the behind the scenes, but there we get to see the kiddos congratulating their mom, Miss Michaela, with a nice finish. Congratulations, good job, kiddos. So cool to see that. We hope to see you out here on paddleboards in upcoming races, and we hope that we can continue to foster some great competition and fun with our younger generation of kids there. But man, coming together and being together doesn't get any better than that.
So Rob, I note that the Go Boaters teach kids. How old do they start?
You know, I would say in general, probably 7 or 8 years old is when I would say most of the individuals start to grasp that slight independent spirit. They're a little more confident maybe around the water and being separated on their own. That's probably a pretty common age or the younger of ages
Yes.
where they start to come into this sport and have some fun. But don't forget, once you can get a kiddo in a life jacket and they, you feel confident that they'll sit on a board at 2, maybe 3, 4 for sure, you can put your kiddo on the front of a paddleboard. And that's a really fun way to just get kids on the water and having fun. There's no better days than throwing your kid on the front. We do a little 3-island tour. We do a 1-mile lap. And the only way I can get my kids to do it is if I bring lots of snacks. So we have a little cooler with snacks, and we stop at each island. We find seashells. We have some snack packs, and we make our way around, and it seems to be one of those really nice bonding experiences.
Give it up for Elizabeth James coming out across the finish line.
There we go. Congratulations, Elizabeth, on a wonderful 5K race, number 44, 54 minutes and 4 seconds. She is 5th overall. Great racing. We've got 14 racers out here that started the 5K. And we just had our top 5 come through. Elizabeth James rounding out the top 5.
We're still seeing a lot of folks on this side of the small island here on the second leg. It looks like the wind is still sustaining, but maybe about the same as it started. So speaking of kids, there's a junior category in the World Cup as well, and World Championships. And so you need to be 15 years old in order to enter to the junior category. And so I would hope everybody out there start developing their kids, because they are our stand-up paddleboard future.
Not only is there a junior division, but right now the paddling community behind the scenes, I believe, has all eyes on the Olympics. Now, stand-up paddleboarding is not in the Olympics currently, and it has not been approved for the Olympics currently, but they're very close. And behind the scenes, there's a lot of talk that maybe stand-up paddleboarding may be able to officially get its bid into not the 2028 Summer Olympics, but the 2032 Summer Olympics are what they are hoping for. In 2028, there might be a exhibition with stand-up paddleboarding out in California, if I believe correctly.
That's correct. It's in L.A.
Yep, out in L.A.
Long Beach is the official location for all water sports.
Long Beach, California in 2028. Go get there. Surfing has made its way into the Olympics, and our hope is that stand-up paddleboarding is not far behind. A lot of these athletes that are Olympic gold medal and medal holding canoe, kayak, sprint racers that are already in the Olympics, I think they see the writing on the wall, and they believe stand-up paddleboarding is going to be next, and that's why a lot of them are crossing over right now, and they're training for stand-up paddleboarding because they want their medals. When if that opportunity presents itself, they want to be first in line, and they want to be prepared to have experience under their belt. So like Mike was saying, if you have a little kiddo that is excited about water or water sports, make sure you get them connected with one of your local paddle shops or paddle groups and find out what is available out there that they can start getting their paddling in any version of paddling division. Obviously, stand-up paddleboarding is our favorite. I just got word that my kiddos are out here today, and they heard my comment about snacks, and they're probably now looking for snacks. I love them both, Jade and River. I'm so glad that you guys are out here supporting your mom and dad, having some fun this weekend. That's what it's all about. I hope to have my kids out here one day soon. They are developing their love for paddling and developing their love for sitting on a paddleboard while I paddle. So we'll see how that translates over the years. Mike, you'll have to hold me accountable to see if I can get my kiddos out here.
Well, the other cool aspect of stand-up paddleboarding, as you can say about canoeing and slalom, is that the longevity of the athletes who can perform at a very high level is quite a bit longer than some of the other sports like gymnastics. We've seen world champions in 30s and 40s and still reigning, and that's one of the motivations for stand-up, is that it's relatively low impact on your body.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you had to choose a sport, not saying that gymnastics isn't wonderful, because we love that too, but boy, can that beat up a kiddo's body for years of intense training. I mean, how many gymnasts do you see that are 25 or 30? Close to none. And like Mike was saying, we've had 40-year-old world champions in some of these divisions at this point, and I think there's more to come. Paddling has a lot to do with experience and repetition as you start to get to those higher levels, developing that muscle motor memory in order to get through all these adverse conditions with wind and waves and so on and so forth. Something to note is that although this is an inland course, stand-up paddleboarding, not just SUP surfing, but stand-up paddleboarding is very commonly done and really originated from the ocean. Many of the races that happen are either ocean inlets or they are on intercoastal waterways. And many of some of the most well-known Battle of the Paddle races would take place right in the surf break. So paddlers would be going in and out of buoys that were going from the beach out through surf breaks and managing a 14-foot paddleboard in 4, 5, and even 6-foot waves depending on the day, which, if you want to talk about some pretty fun paddling, just do yourself a favor and put a little search of Battle of the Paddle in YouTube and watch some paddleboard carnage at its best from years past. Unfortunately, that race no longer exists, but it sure set the stage for what many of us know stand-up paddleboarding to be in a very exciting climate.
I just want to give a shout out to Linda Weber, who has just crossed the 200-meter sprint line, and she is struggling hard against the increasing wind right now. She told me that a lot of her friends from Tennessee are watching live stream, so please give her a hand for trying to finish this very difficult race for a beginner. She's about, I would say, 150 meters from the finish and looking very strong, very poised, and we wish her the best luck.
Linda Weber, number 46 on your screen there. She's on her bark. You can see that pointed nose that's helping her board cut through those choppy waves that are coming at her and smoothly glide her to the finish as she approaches.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy conditions for beginners today.
Yeah, not too bad. They're working hard, but they're going to make it. Luckily, we've seen our paddlers come through. This is Miss Linda Weber who's coming in. She's going to be our 6th paddler crossing the finish line today. Pretty impressive. And, making their way. We see some of our other paddlers. They're still making their way around the course and doing a great job doing it. Again, a recap of this morning. Our male overall winners, Erie Tenario, number 1, coming in, putting on a master class of racing today. He took the lead right from the start. He broke away from the draft pack within half a mile, and I don't think he ever looked back.
Amazing performance from a very young person from Brazil.
He just kept paddling 6 miles straight, made it look really good. Jake Portwood, for the most part, was right, 2nd place. There we go, 46, Linda Weber. Congratulations on a great race.
Linda Weber.
Nice racing, Linda. Twirling her paddle around, making it look good. 1 hour, 2 minutes, 43 seconds. Yeah, so Jake Portwood, right off the bat, was in 2nd place, and took the lead in the draft pack and pulled that pack for most of the race, quite honestly. There were a couple lead changes there with Steve Miller and Bodie Van Almen, but Jake pretty much pulled a lot of the way and made that look really good. It was pretty exciting when we had a nine-person draft pack that was going. You don't see that often for at least a period of time, and they did that for at least a mile and a half before it split into two groups of your 5 and 6 there. Steve Miller, over 50, again, talking about age, seems to not matter in this sport half as much as any other sports. Steve Miller came through number 3, and then Bodie Van Almen number 4. Now Steve Miller technically was in the Masters division, so he will be first place Masters. Erie Tenario number 1, Jake Portwood number 2, and Bodie Van Almen number 3, who are going to be on the podium this afternoon, taking home some medals and taking home some cash, and turning around to come back and do it again tomorrow.
Number 43, Laura Kia. She's been paddling for 7 years, and we thank her for being the volunteer coordinator for the last paddlers standing.
All right, she was a volunteer coordinator.
That's
yeah.
right. So for those of you that don't know, Last Paddler Standing is a 48-hour nonstop paddling in this park, Nation Benderson Park, that happened earlier this year. And every time you go around this 3-mile course, you take a break, but it happens over 48 hours. And we really thank her for volunteering to coordinate this event, which is quite impressive.
Probably one of the craziest events that we've seen in a different format in stand-up paddleboarding. Last year was the first year. This year is going to be its second year happening. Last Paddler Standing, like Mike was saying, they went, was it 49 hours?
48 hours.
48 hours, and
yes.
The 49th they finally they called it, or
yeah.
The second man standing
right.
Worked its way out. So these individuals had 1 hour flat to complete their 5K loop around Nathan Benderson Park, which you've just seen right there, and you see some of the paddlers on the 5K course doing the same thing. So they had 1 hour to complete it, and if they completed it early, they could rest, but the second lap started on the hour right after that, and they had to keep going. If they were not at the start line 10 seconds before the start of the lap, they were immediately dropped, and they would not be able to continue on. So I'm not sure exactly how many paddlers were there, 40, 50 that started, something like that? 40 or 50 paddlers started the first hour, which started towards the middle of the morning, I believe, if I'm thinking correctly. Maybe it was 9 a.m. And they paddled every hour, doing a 5K every hour, all through the night. This was nonstop. They got no rest other than maybe 10 minutes in between each lap. All through the night, the day broke, the sun came up. They paddled again every hour, doing a 5K all throughout the next day. They paddled through that night again, only getting 10 minutes of sleep, maybe, in a tent right nearby the shoreline. And they were not allowed to eat on the course. So after they finished their 1 hour lap, they would have to try to get some food and rehydrate and lay down and get their legs to stop cramping, most likely, and continue on. And it was at the 48th hour that there were 2 paddlers still going, and on hour 49, the second paddler decided to finally say, "I am done." And so they went 48 hours straight. Okay, here's number 43, Miss Laura Kia. Congratulations, Laura, finishing her 5K. Excellent job.
Give it up for Laura.
Laura Kia, 1 hour, 7 minutes, 49 seconds. Great race for Laura. Way to go.
She doesn't even look like she's breathing very hard.
I think, Laura, we think you should probably just go around one more time. Let's see if she can go around one more. Let's just go down there and tell her. Be like, listen, you look a little. It looks a little too easy for you. Why don't you go around one more time?
Coming up, we see Volrath father and daughter combo, Elizabeth Grace and Tiger. And this would be Tiger's very first race, as well as Elizabeth's first race. Tiger comes from a paddling background of kayaking. He's a slalom paddler. And Elizabeth, 12 years old, first race, 3 miles, and looking very strong. And number 62.
Yeah, number 62 here, Brad Tanner, that you're seeing right in front of you. Great example of that wind we were talking about. If you take a look at just his shirt and his shorts, you can see they look like a flag in the wind. You can see those buoys next to him as he goes by each one, just trying to stay straight. Again, one of the disadvantages of a wider board, although it's stable, it just doesn't like to stay straight sometimes. So he's going to do some S-curves for the last 200 meters of his race. Great job out there, Brad Tanner, making your way. We are rooting for you. You're only 200 meters away, Brad. This is your show. This is your moment.
One of the unfair things of paddling is that usually wind comes up later in the afternoon in a lot of locations, and that if you start later, if you are slower, the wind is stronger, and therefore you have a harder time. And this is what they're experiencing right now. But looks like Brad is doing really well, and he's actually increased his pace to counteract the wind, and looking really good.
That's another one of those strategies that we teach our paddlers, and paddlers learn overall that when you have higher wind, you take a little bit of a shorter paddle stroke, and you try to increase that cadence of how many strokes per minute you are doing there, so that your board can move faster and you have less chance of your nose swaying too far to the side. You can see him splashing that paddle along. He's having some fun.
Yeah, we're looking at the last 4 paddlers, I believe, for our Rec 5K race, and everyone is paddling hard against the wind. From our vantage point, it almost looks like some of them are just standing still, but when we when we look at the footage, they are moving forward.
I've been out paddling in 20 and 30 and even 35 plus mile an hour winds, and if you try to go upwind in conditions like that, you, as hard as you can paddle, you're either going to be standing still or you're going to be going backwards. So wind really does make a difference. And that's an important safety aspect, again, that we teach our newer paddlers to the sport. Checking to see if it's going to rain is nice, and making sure there isn't lightning is important, but checking the wind is maybe one of the most important things that you can do before you go out paddleboarding, finding out which way the wind is going and what the predictions are. Because if you go out and you paddle downwind for a mile or two, boy, you're going to just be having a great time. You'll be barely paddling. And then when you turn around, you might realize that you can't get back to home. And that can present a problem. All right, number 62, Brad Tanner on your screen here. He is roughly 75 yards, maybe even less, maybe 60 meters here from the final for his 5K recreational finish. Let's see, Brad, as far as males go, is he up there in the top 3? Thomas Larkin, number 1, coming across the screen. Or coming across the finish line there. I think, if I am not mistaken, I'm going to do some quick looking here. I think Brad Tanner is our second place male finalist here in the 5K.
Yeah, Brad.
There we go. Digging deep, Brad, making his final. 1 hour, 13 minutes, 35 seconds. Brad, second male finisher coming across the line. He's on the recreational podium list here. Nice work. Giving a shout out, rocking the bull. Nice work. Way to go, Brad. Okay, I think we've got some of our last paddlers coming in here. You're seeing number 12.
Elizabeth Volrath.
All right, Elizabeth Volrath coming across the line. Not yet. She's getting there. She's on her inflatable. How old is Elizabeth?
Only 12 years old.
12 years
First
old.
race ever.
Other than Mason, I think she probably is our youngest paddler on the course right now. And here comes number 41, Tiger Volrath. I think this is probably Dad. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he hung out with her for the entire time, and he sprinted in the last.
Broke away.
He sprinted in the last 200 meters just to get number 3 in men's open.
Yeah, way to go, Tiger. Tiger
Yeah.
Volrath, third male overall. Congratulations. He was number 9 coming in on the 5K. And he's turning around to cheer on his daughter, who is coming through as we speak. Elizabeth Volrath, riding the nose of her board, toes on the nose almost. She is making her way on an inflatable 5K. One of our youngest paddlers out on the course today.
Yeah, and this is what's interesting about our sport. Tiger Volrath is a 2016 U.S. Canoe Kayak Slalom Olympic team trials. I'm not sure whether he was on the Olympic team, but he certainly made it to the trials.
Dang, nice
And,
job, Tiger.
That in itself is a very great accomplishment. And we're looking at the second generation.
There you go. You see Tiger in the background right there. He's
cheering on his
cheering
daughter.
on and paddling her
Oh,
in.
Elizabeth is
Look
putting
at her.
on a spring stroke. Yeah,
see
go,
it.
Elizabeth.
Digging in for the final. She's got a choke stroke going on there and picked up her cadence. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Volrath, one of our youngest paddlers on the course today, coming in at a time of 1 hour and 16 minutes and 22 seconds. Great job.
We are
Volrath
all very
family.
proud of you for finishing this race.
Elizabeth, I'm going to have to introduce you to my daughter so you can encourage her to be out there next year with you. Okay, you are looking at our, if I believe, our last paddler on the course making their way. They are less than 200 meters to 5K glory. They've got their wings on. Number 71.
I believe number 71 was a last-minute sign-up. Her name is Alicia Norton. She's been paddling for a few years, but this is her first race, and I'm loving the wings on her back.
Yeah.
And I believe that's creating some advantage for her in this wind.
You know what? We're going to have to consult the rule book to
Right.
see if that was an unfair advantage that she got here today. But I think
Yeah.
they're going to probably let it slide.
I mean, do you think that she's getting some downwind advantage here?
I think she's having some upwind trouble. We can see her right here. trying to do a little course correction. You can't see the total, but she was going a little off course.
Right. The wings might be giving her trouble instead of helping her.
A little extra drag from those wings on her back there.
She's paddling a 10-foot board, and this is what we were talking about. A 10-foot board going upwind, inflatable. Typically, it's going to be a little bit tough for beginners, but she's doing quite well, I think, and we wish her the best luck on the finish line.
Number 71. Everybody who's out there, this is your last paddler for the 5K. Miss Alicia, number 71, making her way on the course. Give her a round of applause for doing something that most people don't want to do if they're nervous or scared to race. She is at an international ICF paddleboard race competition, doing her first 5K, and she is fighting that wind. Oh, the wind!
Oh, the wind just blew her.
The wind's coming across. She is trying to course correct there with a little bit of a reverse turn to get herself back on course. She is almost there.
We just encourage you to keep paddling on your right.
You got this, Alicia.
Yes.
Alicia, this is all yours.
So close to the finish line. She can literally taste it.
All right, well, I want to, oh, Alicia. Alicia is doing her best. She's doing her best to stay out of the sand here. She's going to course correct. That wind is just pushing that inflatable around all over. She is so close. You've got this, Alicia. Forward paddling is going to get you there. All right.
Now we've got 3 coaches next to the bank helping her. I'm sure she'll make it. She's underneath now, making great progress towards the finish line. Let's cheer for Alicia.
Cheering is energy, everybody. Cheer her on. She is so close to that finish. 30 strokes to glory. Boy, we really want to thank you guys for joining us today and watching all these amazing athletes compete in their sport. This is it. She's almost there. There she is.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Alicia.
Alicia. Number 71 coming in. Oh, maybe not Alicia. If this was Kareen.
Oh, okay.
Kareen, we apologize. This is Kareen. Everybody say thank you, Kareen, for having such a strong finish there. Kareen coming in at 1 hour and 20 minutes and 55 seconds. We want to thank you for spending your morning with us. We are going to show you some of the most amazing highlights from our morning right now. So keep your eyes peeled so you can watch all the action happen. Again, my name's Dr. Rob Sanoa, and I have had the pleasure of spending this morning with you. I really want to thank John Miskowkis for being here, and I also want to thank Mr. Mike Wong for being in the booth with me, helping me commentate and watch these amazing athletes cross their finish line. We just finished the 2023 ICF SUP World Cup 10K and 5K recreational race with international racers from around the world and across the United States coming out to show us all their amazing skills. We hope that you join us one more time for day 3 of this race coming up at 9 a.m. Eastern Time from Sarasota, Florida and Nathan Benderson Park. We are officially signing off. Thank you for being here. We will see you tomorrow. We hope you enjoy these highlights, and we hope you have one of the most amazing days and find yourself out on a paddleboard soon. See you tomorrow.